it, and everyone was amazing.
4 or 5 minutes. Not too probably because you
Okay.
prompt it, then you get what you want, then you have to.
You guys ready?
It'll take some more tweaking too, but it's easy. It's not hard work. It's just.
Okay, we'd like to start the work session of our city council meeting for July 14th, 2026. Well, this is part of it, so, well, you're right. We'll start though with a public hearing. This is for a proposed revisions to the amended 2025-2026 fiscal year budget. Do I have anybody, doesn't look like I have anybody online. Do I have anybody here that is desiring to speak? Former council member Doral? You're good? No, but thanks. Perfect. Okay,
Thanks for being here, Doral.
then we will close the public hearing and we'll move to the work session. We're gonna start from, you said Mike?
Yeah, I will
Josh and Mike.
kick us off and then Mike
Wonderful.
will run us through it. So,
Okay, we're gonna start with a training from our city insurance, the Utah Local Government Trust.
okay, do I need to
Come and join us right here.
Okay.
If you can just
Sounds good at the party table.
No,
state
you gotta
your name.
dance out there.
Awesome.
Just state your name for the record,
Okay.
and then carry on.
Sounds good. My name's Josh McKell. I am the risk finance consultant from the Utah Local Governments Trust that is assigned to Utah County. Mike Stagg is with me. Mike is your assigned risk manager, but he is also the risk manager. He manages our risk management department, our loss prevention department. And I talked to the mayor last week about doing a training, and the training that Mike is gonna go over with you is a popular training right now. It's much needed. He's been doing it with other entities as well. But before he gets started, I just wanted to do a quick introduction of the Utah Local Governments Trust. So we are what's known as a public agency insurance mutual. We were created under an interlocal, so there's lots of local government interlocals throughout the state, and that's exactly what we are. So we're here to serve our members. Our members they own the trust, and each member has equity shareholder stake in the trust as well. So we are a government entity. We're not set up necessarily as a nonprofit, but we are not out for profit. We are just designed to have reserves in place, but also serve our membership. And insurance is certainly one of the most important things that we do, if not the most important, but our bigger focus is on risk management. So that's kind of where we fit, and one of the reasons that we have become very popular with cities. We insure about 91% of the cities and towns across the state of Utah, and we really, really value this relationship. We've done the insurance for Woodland Hills for years, and we feel very good about your leadership team, and we look forward to working with you guys probably a little bit more closely than we have in the past, honestly. And we're here to help you guys however you need it. But before I turn it over to Mike, if anyone has questions or would like to clarify anything, we're happy to address that as well. Okay, Mike.
Excellent. I'm gonna get hooked up here and hopefully this will work for me as I share this with y'all.
You just share them through the Zooms itself.
Yeah,
Try
yeah,
to-
exactly.
Say we didn't have questions because we didn't know what to ask, but we might have more.
Questions?
Might have it afterward.
Yeah.
Hey.
And Mike, will you be sending us these slides afterwards?
Yes, I can absolutely do that.
That would be
Yes.
great.
All right. Mike Stagg, I'm from Utah Local Governments Trust, like Josh said. I'm the loss prevention manager there, but I'm also your assigned risk manager. So there's myself and another gentleman, his name's Jason, who you saw on the screen there with lots of hair. That's not me. And he oversees kind of northern Utah, all the way, down south to the southeastern part of the state. And I kind of do everything really Utah County and west Utah, all the way down to the southern part of the state, down to St. George, Washington County area. And this is some of the stuff that I love to do is come and train and do some presentations. And this is stuff that I'm happy to do for the council. I'm happy to do it for your employees. We have a lot of training that we do, and that's one of my main responsibilities is training, consultations, and risk visits and risk management visits, that kind of stuff. So if the council or the mayor is ever interested in things like that, you can let me know, and I'm more than happy to come and do some of this stuff for you. But this one here is one that when Josh asked me to come and present, he asked, what can we talk about? And this was part of the conversation with the mayor is, some of this stuff is really relevant right now, especially fraud and cybersecurity type things. So I wanted to spend about 15 to 20 minutes with you, if that's okay. Just going through some of the things that we've seen and some of the things that we can do as public officials to make sure that we're as protected as possible here at the city, okay? Why does fraud prevention really matter? Well, because public trust is the foundation of effective government. Any kind of fraud within the organization is going to divert funds away from services and projects that you might want to do and accomplish. Whether that's, the fraud of money being siphoned out of your bank account, or it's the cost of fighting the crime, right? And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to prevent fraud in our organizations. And that fraud comes in all shapes and forms. Any kind of fraud, though, is going to damage reputation. You guys probably know this better than most. Is any kind of fraud within an organization, within a person, is really going to damage that reputation. And that reputation is going to linger for a long time. And really the biggest punishment here is the process when you go through it. The punishment is the process and going through and talking with lawyers and getting documentation and all that kind of stuff. That is the main punishment for a public official, is going through all of the back and forth and all the headache that comes with fraud when it happens. Okay. As you look at fraud, we look at what we call the fraud triangle. Now there's three parts to the fraud triangle. We have opportunity, pressure, and rationalization. Opportunity, really this is an employee or a member of the public or somebody who, because of a lack of controls, they have an opportunity to create something that couldn't be there before. Senior management isn't watching, whether that's a department head that's not watching an individual, whether that's just a supervisor or a line level employee having perceived assurance that they can do this and never be caught. Or a council member do something and never be caught doing it because of the position that you're in. Other things that we look at is pressure. Pressure because of financial pressure at home. They've got something going on that they need, that they feel that they need, I need to do this because I've got to provide for my family. I'm not making enough money and they're going to come take my house away because of poor decisions I've made or this, that, or the other thing. So I've got to do something. So I'm under immense pressure. Addiction is another one. And we're talking like addiction to gambling, addiction to purchasing big, expensive items, things like that, or living outside of your means. I have a cousin of mine who unfortunately fell into what they called financial addiction. He was an auditor for Davis County, and he would go on the weekends, unbeknownst to his wife, to anybody else, and head out to Wendover and just blow everything, like drained his 401k and just blew a ton of money. And then he started to think, oh my gosh, I've got to make this back now. Like if my wife finds out that I've emptied our bank accounts and my 401k's dead, like I'm toast. And so what did he do? Gambled more. It's exactly right. First off, what he did is he started siphoning some off the top at Davis County, and started to take a little bit off, fudge some numbers here a little bit, transfer some things around in his position as an auditor. Then he blew all that too. And then he thought, oh man, now I'm in real deep trouble because now if I get caught at work, I'm probably going to jail. So what's the next thing he did? Robbed a couple of banks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That escalated.
That escalated quickly.
It's not where I thought you were going.
Yeah. So then he robs a couple of banks, one in Farmington and one in Kaysville. And then he got caught. Then he spent the next 12 years of his life in a federal penitentiary because of aggravated robbery. It's these pressure things that people feel that give opportunity. And when we present the opportunity to somebody who is having that pressure, that's especially when fraud can happen.
So
The interest, right? It uses all these extra
Do you have a question? Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I worked in banking for 10 years, and my boss used to say, if you give somebody enough need, enough time, and the opportunity, they will steal from you.
They will steal from you. That's right. Mhm.
All right, so when the subroutine compounds the interest, right, it uses all these extra decimal places that just get rounded off. So we simplified the whole thing, and we round them all down and just drop the remainder into an account that we opened.
So you're stealing?
No, you don't understand. It's very complicated. It's aggregate, so I'm talking about fractions of a penny here, and over time, they add up to a lot.
Oh, okay. So you're gonna make a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's not yours?
Well, it becomes ours.
How is that not stealing?
How's that not stealing? Okay, rationalization is then where we get to. Is I'll pay it back when I can. This isn't stealing. I deserve this. I deserve this pay raise. It's for a good reason. I'm gonna go and put food on my kid's table. I'm gonna pay my bills so my kids can have somewhere to live. I'm only gonna do it once. I'm just gonna do it one time, and then I'm gonna be done, and then I'll pay it back later. That's that fraud triangle we look at, and that's a lot of the incidences that we see at the trust where we've seen fraud happen. Because there's been opportunities, there's been pressure, and then they try and rationalize it away to say, this is what I can do. Some common government fraud schemes that we've seen: payroll manipulation, okay, procurement vendor fraud, expense reimbursements, misuse of assets, IT and data fraud. Okay, these are all just little examples of things that we've seen at the trust of a fraud claim from within a city. And these are things that we want to avoid.
Yes.
Have to remember.
Utah is the fraud capital of the U.S.
Do you believe that? Do you think that's true?
It's on the news, it must.
It must be. Because in Utah, we're good people, right? We're good people here. You guys are good people. Council's good people. Mayor's good people. We work with good people. We're trusting people. Okay?
That's what gets us.
Exactly. Because sometimes we're a little bit dumb. We trust too much.
I think that's probably shifted to either California or Minnesota.
That's very true.
Just, that's a little outdated,
This
just so
might
you know.
have been the state that got caught the most,
Take got caught the most.
but now,
But now maybe
all
not
being
so much. Okay? Because we think sometimes we're immune to this. We're never gonna fall prey to this. People aren't gonna take advantage of us. P.T. Barnum, this quote's attributed to P.T. Barnum, but really, no one really knows where it came from. Says there's a sucker born every minute. We don't want to be the sucker. We don't want to be that sucker that's born every minute.
Done. Step 1. Spoof his number so it looks like he's calling from inside the company, and then call tech support.
Hello, you there? Hello?
Hi, this is Ken. How may I help you?
I was wondering if you can take a look at a website I'm trying to get to. It's for a big customer thing I'm working on for Monday, and I can't seem to get to the website from my computer.
Sure. What's the website? I'll see if I can get to it.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate the help. I mean, it could be a stupid thing. I'm really stuck with computers, but so it's www.survey. That's SURVEY -pro.com.
Yeah, I got a prompt to open. I just clicked open, and I'm at the site now.
Here's what the IT guy doesn't realize. By clicking that link, he's just given David full access to his computer.
Whoa, okay, that's weird. I just hit it and it works. It seems like it's working fine now. Awesome. I don't know what you did, man, but I really appreciate the help.
Hey, no problem. That was easy.
That was it?
We're on his computer right now.
You were able to take over this guy's computer within, I would say, like under 2 minutes.
Under 2 minutes, yeah. Under 2 minutes, took over his entire computer, and think of it as not just his computer, but it's pretty much the downfall of the entire company.
In this case, the company was paying David to hack them.
People should worry about cybersecurity. We really should. We should worry about cybersecurity because you see, just from that little clip, how easy it was, 2 minutes for somebody to call and say, hey, I need you to do this for me. Click this link, go to this website and take care of it for me so I can get into my systems. How easy was it? Yeah.
Are you finding that there's an increase now that AI can duplicate a person's voice, like any of ours?
Yes.
And then make a call, and it would actually be our voice on there, but not
Absolutely.
us. So
Yeah.
how do you guys recommend that we would combat that? Not that it's happened to us personally yet that we know of,
Mhm.
but how are you seeing as risk management to help protect against those types of things?
That is a fantastic question because we are seeing a lot of deep fake AI type things coming through. Faking voices, faking even faces, right? How do you combat that? Well, it's being vigilant and it's trusting people, but then verifying. You know, Ronald Reagan said that, right? Trust but verify. And it's, if something smells fishy, it probably is. If something looks a little strange, if this is out of the ordinary from Carrie to ask me to do something like this, or to transfer this much money over for some gift cards, but don't tell anybody you're doing this because we want to make it a surprise to the mayor. Okay, that's the kind of stuff. That's the kind of.
It's not your budget. If you don't contact us.
We've seen that.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen.
I just want to make one point too. Your infrastructure isn't the only infrastructure you should be worried about too. A lot of vendors that cities use, we've seen the vendors become compromised. And when the vendor becomes compromised, these hackers have access to their mail server. And then they could start following along between a conversation that someone at the city's having with the vendor. And they can slide right in and say, hey, your first payment is due for this project that we were working on. Can you please remit the payment to this account number? And so even though there is AI voice and all this different things, we strongly recommend that you have someone at the city that has a good relationship with the vendor and that you're building that relationship, you're becoming very familiar, and that person can then call to verify. So if you have somebody that can call and verify whoever the project manager is at the vendor before any payment's made, even if you feel like it really is coming from them, that phone call will make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
Because you can touch base with them and see, there was about $1.2 million fraudulent, 1.4 at a member in Utah County, and it could have been completely avoided by one phone call.
And what it was just like Josh was saying, and a contractor hacked the bad guys hacked a contractor's email, called the city and said, you owe us this money for this project that we haven't been paid for. Just send it to this other account because obviously the other one's not working. And so without a question, they thought, oh, you know what? That work has been done. Let's send it.
And they knew right when the project was wrapping up because they were following the email thread. So,
yeah.
Wow.
And we should worry about cybersecurity, but it's usually much simpler than just cybersecurity. I have a few questions for you. Could I get into any one of your buildings? Could I go right now?
This is our building. Yes.
Could I get in this building? Yeah, I could get in this building. Okay? I already have, to be honest, because we can. Other member entities, I know where there's back doors that are propped open because it's hot in there and the public works worker doesn't want to be working in the sweltering heat, and so they leave it propped open just a little bit. I can tell you one thing. When I pulled in today, I just wanted to see. I pulled along the road here, and instead of turning up this parking lot that's right here, I pulled in right here where this garage door is. The garage door was wide open. Nobody sitting there. It's easy to get in. Okay?
I actually noticed that one.
We had a sniper waiting for us.
Just in case.
I noticed,
We're waiting.
actually.
Could I get into one of your emails? You know how common of a name Mike is? You know how many times I've been copied on an email thread to a vendor, to council members, to mayors that I shouldn't have been? Just because my name's Mike and they start typing in Mike in their email and it auto-fills an email in. And there I am. I'm in this email thread that I never should have been in. Now I take those and I delete them, or I let the council or the mayor, whoever copied me on that knows, hey, you got the wrong Mike here. But if I'm a bad guy and want to do bad things, I can get into those emails super quick. And all of a sudden, like Josh was saying, find myself on an email chain about a payment request that I could take advantage of. It's one of those things that we need to make sure that we're educating our employees and being especially prepared for, so that we don't become one of these statistics that we're talking about. Because that's called fraud. These things are fraud. Could I go out and steal one of your vehicles without even trying? I wouldn't even need to hotwire it. Why? Because the keys are in the visor.
Nope.
Or the keys don't even work.
I'm from Arizona. No,
No, I couldn't.
I'm not from here. You can't steal my car. Sorry.
There is one down there you're welcome to. And then we can file
We leave the
the
keys in
trust.
that one.
we leave those. That's a purposeful thing.
It's got a big vacuum on the front.
Okay.
An investigation. Someone stole more than $180,000 from the county. The Iron County auditor says they checked building permit numbers and their funds and found some weren't properly deposited. The state says a former building department manager admitted to stealing the cash. The state auditor's office found a lot of flaws and weaknesses, they say, in the county's cash receipting.
This stuff happens. Happens constantly here in the state. Why? It's because sometimes leadership, we just have blind spots. We over rely on trust. We're much too trusting at times. Sometimes we have weak internal controls. We need to strengthen our controls and make sure that our folks are following the protocols that we need to follow. We have poor follow-up, or there's no kind of whistleblower hotline if we notice that something's going on that shouldn't be. We don't have a way for people to communicate. These are just some of the very common ways that we've seen fraud happen. It's because of these blind spots. One of the other huge claims that we had at the trust, which was a 6-figure claim, was there was a council, and they were given an invoice. And the bad guys, they called up one of the council members and said, hey, we need you to pay this invoice, but instead of wire transferring it to us like is in your policies, we need you to cut a check. Can you cut us a check? Here's the name it needs to be. Here's the address to send it to, and please just send it to us. And it's in their policies to not do that. It's in their policies to not do it. And they said, well, you know what, just this one time so we can get them taken care of, let's do it. So they did it. 6 figures out the window that they never saw again.
That's just stupid. Who writes a check for 6 figures?
Right? But it happened. And these are things that we need to make sure that as leadership, we're not blind to. Always trust but verify. Trust the employees that they're going to do the right thing. Trust the people on the other end, but always verify. Like Josh said, have a personal relationship with a vendor. If something smells fishy, if somebody's asking you to do something that is outside of what's written in a contract, outside of what's normal protocols for you and your organization, make a phone call. Don't send an email, make a phone call. Go on a visit. Don't send an email. Don't even send a text message. Those things can be intercepted super easy. Make a phone call, go in person and talk to somebody about it. Some other detection strategies that we can use: segregation of duties. Have people responsible for different parts of procurement, payment, things like that. Check vendors, do audits, formal, informal type of audits that you guys can do as the council or direct staff members to do. One of the greatest things we can do is complete the fraud risk assessment. The state fraud risk assessment from the state auditor's office is a great tool for us to use, especially for us as leadership and you guys as executive leadership here at the city, to make sure that we have all of our things in place to help us avoid fraud. This fraud risk assessment is just an easy little questionnaire that you can go onto the auditor's website and make sure that you do. Have you guys had a chance to do that?
Yes.
Excellent. 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 And that is one of the best tools that we have available to us to ensure that we have the segregation of duties, that we are doing the right things to eliminate fraud.
And how safe people's passwords are. What is one of your online passwords currently?
It is my dog's name and the year I graduated from high school.
Oh, what kind of dog do you have?
I have a Chihuahua Papillon.
And what's its name?
Jameson.
Jameson. And where'd you go to school?
I went to school back in Greensburg, Pennsylvania.
What school?
Hempfield Area Senior High School.
Oh, when did you graduate?
In 2009.
Oh, great.
It's like my cat's name and then just like a random number.
Okay. Have you had this cat for a while?
Yeah, she's my childhood pet.
Aw. And what's her name?
Her name is Jolie.
Jolie. So like a password of yours would be Jolie and then a number.
Yeah.
Like number 1?
Like my birthday.
Oh, when is your birthday?
June 12th.
Oh, nice. And what year were you born?
95.
Oh, great. So Jolie, 6, 12, 95.
Yes.
Got it.
Gemma. 1, 2, 3. Spelled Gemma.
Well, most of them are Italian.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Like what's a good Italian password?
My grandma's name.
What's your grandma's name?
Maria.
Maria. So Maria is your password?
Oh yeah, now you know my password. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was hard to watch.
But that's the world we live in. I mean, it really is. And we've got to make sure that then what we have to do at the top here in this group, we have to set the tone. We have to set the tone with strong ethics and make sure that it goes from the top down. From us as council members and from us as executive leadership, it works its way down, all the way down to the team, so that everybody is aware of our expectations and the things that we're doing here at the top to avoid fraud. And we expect those same things of the employees and the stewards of the city. Okay? Other things, make sure you have a response plan. So if there is fraud that happens in your organization, investigate it immediately. If something is happening that's not right, follow your HR and your legal process. Make sure you have a good process and plan in place what to do if there's suspected fraud or a cybersecurity type of breach. Communicate openly about these things. Talk about it. Let the employees know what's going on. Don't hide things. Be upfront. Be transparent and make sure that you report any kind of fraud that is going on, because all that's going to do is going to strengthen your policies and it's going to strengthen the resolve of everybody there, so that we make sure that we are providing our employees the best fraud protection that we can. Okay, just a checklist for you guys as elected officials that I thought of. Ask about your fraud risk assessment. You guys have it. Make sure that you've reviewed it and you know what it is. Review your internal control reports that you require of your employees. What you require that the stewards of the city do in order to ensure that they're combating fraud within their specific departments. Ensure you have whistleblower protections in place, and an open door policy where people and employees can come and let you know if they think something is going wrong, if something is not up to the stuff. Okay, demand transparency. Demand transparency from your different department heads and from your stewards in the city to ensure that fraud isn't happening. And don't ever bypass your processes. Whatever your process is, if it is to always make sure you write paper checks to your vendors, then do that. If somebody asks you to do a wire transfer and that's not in your protocols, you're like, yeah, just this one time we'll do it to get them taken care of. Don't do that. Follow your policies and don't bypass those processes. We have seen, like Josh said, is just the thing of not obeying and following the policies. If we could just make one phone call or just follow the simple policy, we can make these things go away. We don't end up with $1 million lost or 6 figures lost because somebody did something that they shouldn't have and took a shortcut and just made it a mistake that one time. Okay? Do you guys have any questions? Any questions for me?
Well, I've got one thing. So next council meeting, just so you guys know, and what was on our agenda already, is we do have our auditor coming to give us another training on what are all of our processes, what are our controls, what is the process by which we operate here in the city. So plan on that so you guys better understand what we do and how we do it. And for those of you who don't know, this lovely lady in the beautiful yellow shirt is Charlene. So we're excited to have her, and she's also working on our processes, our controls, the separation of kind of the duties and powers and who can authorize what. And so we're doing a lot of really
Awesome.
great things already down this path. So
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I don't doubt that you already are. Just keep going. Keep going on the path, know those policies, set the tone as leadership. It's great. It's great that you're doing that.
And don't, tell the reporter on the street what your password is.
Yeah.
I don't even click links from my IT department.
From ours or yours?
At my work, I don't even click a reminder for training in the reminder email. I go straight to the source.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'm in title and escrow and we get wires all day, every day, so.
I'm sure.
And what we send wire instructions, we have to send them securely. Like, we have a whole process. Cause we hear lots of horror stories about people intercepting wires and. Anyway.
Yeah. Like Ted was saying there, I'm assuming you've all received multiple emails lately from quote unquote me.
Yeah.
Requesting
All sorts of
something,
stuff.
right?
Yeah. And we learned that a long time ago. Well, Doral helped us learn that one. Is that, when those emails started coming, asking for things and they were from the mayor, just make sure that you look at where it's coming from and you recognize it's not the mayor's email.
And
It's his name, but not his
email address.
Email address, so.
Now the game is they just send them to me and say, sorry, I'm not gonna do this for you.
Forward it to you.
Yep.
But they say, look for typos, look for spelling errors.
Yep, look
those
for
kinds of
typos, spelling errors.
Unfamiliar email addresses.
Look for if somebody's name is spelled with an L instead of an L, it has a number 1.
Yeah.
Because it looks exactly the same, or an O is a 0, and it looks almost the same. Those are the little things that we pay attention to in emails.
Because all of our emails are online, everybody knows them.
Yep.
What's funny though is it puts pressure on us to not have a typo in our email.
Yes.
Or something wrong because you don't want somebody because I have to send stuff out to a lot of people. I don't want them to think that I'm fraud. Right?
Yes, exactly.
So I have to be extra careful.
You have to be extra vigilant with that, right? Yeah.
If I spelled everything right, then they know it wasn't me.
No,
we
as
know
long as
something's
you're
not right.
consistent, Brian, then we know.
I'm an engineer, they expect it to be.
As long as you're consistent.
Wonderful. Any other questions, you guys?
No, I wrote down some questions, but it sounds like we'll be asking those next meeting.
Yep, on how we operate?
Yeah.
Hold those till next week. Yes, Wayne?
The state auditing standards have not been updated for years and years. And there's things that you're talking about in here, for example, internal controls that they gloss over. And I know that they can't get in depth in a lot of areas, but do you guys have any interaction if you're ensuring as many as city municipality or government municipalities as they are? I would think that some of your input would be valuable to make some changes maybe and delving in a little bit more of the auditors into some of these internal control issues and other matters. Is there any correspondence between you and them with any recommendations for updating some of their standards to be more in line with what is being encountered in this day and age?
Yeah, I think, Josh, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think Steve, the CEO, is actually doing a lot of that, right?
Yeah, Steve works pretty closely with whoever the state auditor is. And so the fraud risk assessment, it's high level, right? It's 30,000 feet. And it just talks about some of the high level controls. That fraud risk assessment came from the previous auditor, not our current state auditor, but the previous one. And the points assigned to there, in our opinion, we don't know if the weight that they carry are as important as maybe the cities value them. I think that the single biggest thing that's important in there is the separation of duties, but they don't assign a ton of points to that one. But we've got a new state auditor and we are working more closely with them, and we try to do things in conjunction with them so that our members are doing things and rolling out the latest and greatest. And I think this new state auditor is trying to push some more updates and has his own staff that are going out and trying to do things. I can't speak to exactly what some of those newer items are, but he is trying to build on what the last state auditor did. And we do work together, and we share with them the areas that we see their vulnerabilities, because we know when there's a claim, we know when there's an issue, because of the fact that we insure about 90% of the cities and towns. So when we see a weak point, we try to share that so that we can shore up areas across the state. And Mike's team tries to do a good job of educating as new stuff comes up as well. So
What I know, I've professionally a little bit, I've done some forensic auditing, and there's all kinds of disclaimers in the state auditing process that we're not guaranteeing this, we're not guaranteeing that. And I would think that would be helpful to a city or any government entity to have that. I mean, that's why that auditing requirement is in place, to help the cities better ferret out where there may be issues. And I don't know that to me, there's a big hole there, it's lacking.
well, and for what it's worth, the auditing firm that you guys use directly, the private auditing firm, I think those guys do a lot of the heavy lifting. And so while the state auditors, they are certainly trying to do a lot, there's only so much they can do because they've got a certain amount of staff numbers, and there's a lot of entities in the state. But make sure that you are putting your personal auditing firm to the task and making sure that, because they're the ones that we see that are catching stuff.
Well, I agree, but I don't want to belabor a point, but they're following the state guidelines, but the state guidelines are often quite weak in the things that they're supposed to do.
Well, we just got an update. This was last year. And this is an update that came from the state. Part of it is it's legislative though. I don't want to give the state auditor's office too much credit, but they shored up an area that we thought was very vulnerable. There was a bonding requirement for your treasurer, and a normal fidelity bond was just what they required, and they had a certain amount based on the amount of budget that your entity has. They now require that to be crime insurance, and crime insurance is so much more robust than a fidelity bond. And so we are seeing areas like that are getting better, where they're requiring more. And so we're happy to see that, and we're right in line with them. All of our members, we've been given crime to our members in lieu of a fidelity bond since 2016. And we actually went to the Money Management Council for the state of Utah and said, hey, we realize that you're requiring a bond, but a lot of our members have crime and it's better than a bond. So can you make an adjustment to your rules so that we can also accept crime in lieu of a bond? Well, not only did they do that adjustment, but just a few short years later, they said, you're right, the crime is better, we're done with bonds. So we're seeing some movement and some traction, but it's government and it takes time.
Yeah.
So
It takes time.
So, in my professional life, I deal with insurance companies. And the insurance companies have requirements for us in industry to be insured.
Sure.
Right? FM Global, that kind of thing, right? You're familiar with those.
Sure.
Do you have set standards that are above and beyond what the state requires? Because I'd rather the state stay the hell out of my business.
Yeah.
As a city, I want to be as robust as we can, but I don't want to do something that the state requires Salt Lake to do that they have to do differently to require me to do it, right? But are there standards that you set as the insurer of your members that you say you must meet these even though they're above and beyond the state requirement?
So from a crime standpoint, we are not the carrier for your crime policy. If you have a property policy with us, we purchase a crime policy for you, and it's no additional charge. And that crime carrier, they have their own requirements that they set forth.
Yep.
And more than anything, that they just want to know that our members are doing something, because so many entities are doing nothing. And so by virtue of doing something, by having something in place, so their requirement is that there's the fraud risk assessment or an equivalent of a fraud risk assessment.
Sure.
Now I realize that's just state protection levels, right? But then we also at the Utah Local Governments Trust have policies that are on our own paper: liability, property, workers' comp, auto, all those. And we don't require that our members are meeting all these different requirements as far as, we don't have like a white sheet that says what you need to do. but we do look very, very closely at what protocols you have in place. We look very closely at your leadership. We look very closely at your loss history. We look closely at your risk management
So
and
you're,
loss
it's
prevention
kind of
controls.
tailor fitting, is that what you're saying as we come on?
Well,
You're tailor fitting to make sure that we're meeting, we don't have some hard.
We're selective.
Okay.
We're selective. So for new members, we've got a lot of members. For instance, we had a county member just a couple of years ago that said, we're just getting hammered in pricing. We'd love to join you guys. Can you take a look at our programs and see if we're a good fit? They were not a good fit.
Yeah.
We did not accept them. We've had other members that have had leadership issues. They've had issues with consistent claims. They don't have a good safety culture. And it's very rare because usually our teams, my team and Mike's team, can usually get with our members that are struggling, and we can get programs in place and we can turn the corner and we can start working with their leadership. And generally speaking, we're very, very successful in doing that.
Yeah.
But if we have a member that we're unable to work with, it's rare. I've been at the trust for 18 years and I've only seen it twice, but we will non-renew the account if we have to.
And that's protection for.
Yeah, and that's protection for all of it. But I'm also saying if you guys have additional standards beyond maybe what Wayne says is weak at the state level, that would actually be protection for the whole trust, right?
So
that's kind of what I'm asking, because when I deal, if I switch from FM Global to another company and I end up spending millions of dollars to upgrade a plant to meet their standards, right?
Yeah.
Are you doing that for the other members? I mean, that to me, when you say member, it makes me feel like I'm part of a whole, right?
Yes.
And so are you doing that to shore up what Wayne has pointed out as some weaknesses or other weaknesses in the state to make sure that us and other entities that are also part of that membership, meeting those standards?
So we don't, just to be candid with you, we don't have a line in the sand that says, if you do not do these specific items, no membership at the trust. The line in the sand has to do with performance. And as we see it, if you've got some big red flags, those red flags can become a problem. But we haven't wrote a prescriptive,
That's what I'm asking.
But we do have a lot of programs in place that do incentivize our members to go above and beyond.
And we are being made aware of these things so that we can, as long as that's there and.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those programs are very, very successful, and they drive the safety and loss prevention culture at majority of our entities. I'll be candid with you as well. Utah is a little bit different of a mix than we see at other states, and we're lucky for that. Housing authorities inside of it in California, in Nevada, insurance companies don't want to touch them. We've got hot crack pipes that are starting fires. We've got disputes with residents. We've got a lot of people from tribal Africa that are wanting to fight, their other guy down the street. And we've even seen it here a little bit with Molotov cocktails. It's a problem. But in Utah, it's such a different demographic, generally speaking. And so part of us is we benefit from that, but we also do take it to the next level. And we are very, very intentional with who we allow into the pool. But then we just had a meeting on Friday where we have identified groups that are not getting in line with our programs. We have a lot of members. We have about 650. We've identified six groups that we need to work very, very closely with. We've got the data to show how their performance is and how they're doing and what their culture is. 6 is great out of 650, but it's still 6. And so our efforts will be concentrated towards those 6 members, and they will be put on a program and a plan to get them going in a different direction. And the biggest thing that stands out to us is frequency. Everyone is going to have a severity claim at some point. No one's immune from it, but frequency is our big red flag. That's where we can see where the issues lie, and we can drill down on those very quickly, and we do. So we always got our radar out. We're always looking to see where we need to put our attention, and that we still pay claims. We pay lots of claims every year. But
Yeah, we don't have a lot of claims, but we have a big claim.
And just so you guys know, since for the last 7 months or 8 months, Josh and I have been on the phone on average probably once a month.
Yeah, lots, and we've had meetings in person, and
so just to make sure that we're doing things, we're working on our processes on how do we file claims so that we're not footing bills that really should, per our policy, be going to the trust. What processes do we need to have when something that could be a claim is in place, and do our staff know which questions to ask, what things to say, what things to commit us to and what not to commit us to. So we're working on those as well.
And we want to applaud you for your efforts and as a mountain community for fire protection.
Oh, yeah.
Truly,
Really.
that's another thing that we keep a close eye on, and we wish everybody that lived up against the bench or above and beyond were doing what you guys are doing. So we give you an A+ in that area, and we may lean on you in the future to help other organizations achieve that same level. So
Ted's always happy to help.
Well, and-
Will you repeat that, please?
Well,
you're killing it.
and because we've been doing it for such a long time, all of our residents or most all of our residents are on board, right? And that makes a big difference when the community overall sees the benefit and that they take responsibility for their own property. And then as a whole, then it becomes better. And then under the leadership of our fire department and our fire chief, Ted, there, it helps everyone feel a little bit more secure. The risk is still there, but at least the mitigation has been done.
Well, it makes us feel a lot better because there's a lot of exposure in a community like this, obviously. So we're glad you guys are doing, the right things in that area.
They're just patting themselves on the back there.
Well, I think we've also on a whole, our residents are also extremely grateful for the way we have worked on the mitigation efforts. We've still got a ways to go, which everybody does. But on a whole, we're really devoting as much of the resources we can to making preparations and movements towards mitigating our fire exposure. So,
well, here's to a successful monsoon season with lots of rain and minimal lightning.
Perfect. Well, wonderful. Is there anything else? Steve? We're glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks.
They're gonna send us their slides.
He was on Zoom for a minute.
I picked up.
So,
Brian's on too now.
Presentation tonight, so.
wonderful. Okay. If there's anything else, gentlemen,
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us out.
We appreciate it. Thank
I
you.
do. I should have you teach me how to.
Okay, we will move to the next one. You're welcome to stay, or you're welcome to get home to your families. If I were you,
Go to Richfield.
I gotta go to Richfield.
Really young Mexican.
Okay.
Drive safe.
Yeah, thanks.
I was gonna say, that's Ted driving home.
An hour and a half.
Yeah. That's not even home.
You'll
That's
get there
completely opposite way of home.
We'll get there before we're done.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Thanks.
Hey, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move to number 3. This is the discussion for the proposed resolution 2026-44, approving and ratifying the year-end budgetary and accounting adjustments for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. And what's really cool
It's number 3 on mine.
is, that's what I said.
Oh,
Did I say 2? 3.
No, he said 3.
okay, just making sure.
We get to hear all this from Charlene.
Yes, you
So,
do. You know,
this is
that
great.
couldn't have been a better segment into what my job, you all just hired me to do, is work on internal controls. I have 40 years of experience. And this is when you say, yeah, you look like you started when you were 10. But in working with city governments, government entities, all fund accounting, internal controls, I have been audited 92 times for internal controls and have passed every single one of them. And I have been working with the mayor and with Lori and Jody. We've already started to put things in place. Mr. Hatterley of the auditor's office and I have had several conversations, and we have a list of internal controls that we will be putting forth with the mayor. I am so honored, privileged to work with you and excited, and I can't tell you how wonderful both Lori and Jody have been to work with. They have just they've welcomed me with open arms, and I appreciate that immensely. But a lot of your concerns about internal controls will be addressed within the next 6 months, because not only will they be a part of it, but so will I. And that will create it. I've also met with the gentleman over the Polaris software, and I will be taking over just the security piece of it. And then we will be dividing these responsibilities out so that everybody sleeps well at night, and this organization and this city is protected. All right. The item before you this evening, and I've been to lots of city council meetings, hundreds. So thank you for having me.
So we don't scare you?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
Not at all. The item before you is simply a resolution and a housekeeping item. When you approved the budget, the last revised budget, there were a couple of items that needed to be fixed. Your transfers in and out need to balance, okay? And there was a couple of numbers that didn't quite balance, i.e. the transfer from the CIP fund, the Public Works CIP fund number did not match the transfer to the general fund. And so therefore that has been corrected. Also, there was a sale of a capital asset that was supposed to be transferred to the EMS CIP fund, but there was no transfer in the EMS CIP fund, so we needed to do that. The other thing that is also very important is that when you have budgetary resolutions, you need to identify a funding source. And so that is included in that budget that Jody put forth with the resolution. Those funding sources have been identified. They aren't necessarily called out in the resolution. So I would recommend that you all consider approving this budget. I have spoken with John Hatterley. He said that it is fine to approve it this evening, even though it did pertain to the appropriation for the FY 25-26 budget. It was fine. Let's go ahead and get it corrected. So this is just a housekeeping item.
So can you explain to me, when you say it needed to have a budget that it was tied to, so we'd kind of decided to move away from our CIP funds and do general fund and have a general fund. Now, this is a little bit different because we sold the fire truck with the intent of using part of that money to get a new ambulance. But it comes down to semantics unless it's a legal requirement that we have a CIP fund.
It's not.
So again, I'm fine with it, but I just was kind of curious, does it have to be a CIP fund, or could we say we're going to put this money into the general fund and we're going to budget out of the general fund?
For future, yes. For the past, we just got to fix it.
Yeah, and fixing it's fine. Fixing it fine. I just want to make sure that
No,
we're
you
clear
can buy your ambulances and everything else out of your general fund because you have public safety in your general fund.
Correct.
You're just fine to do that.
Okay.
This is just simply, like I said, and you do have to have a funding source, which oftentimes, if you sell a capital asset, then that's your funding source. In this particular one, Lori and I simply tucked it away in saving for an ambulance. So that's what we've got it.
It's what it's there for.
Yeah, and it's exactly what it's there for. And
Now, these transfers, from what I understand, not necessarily have been done based on some discussions that you've had with bond counsel and some decisions that you have made in the past, so they may or may not be done. We just simply need to make everything balanced.
yeah, absolutely. It makes sense the way it's put together, but I just wanted to know going forward because we've talked about getting out of saving for things and actually taking loans for things because we feel at this point that it's financially it's better
You
to
can
do it that way.
That's absolutely just fine.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, and as Charlene, she's getting her feet wet. She's understanding exactly how we're operating versus how others have. We're going to dive back into that conversation and take a look and figure it out because we did have a plan, as you probably remember, to pull those monies out of savings to then potentially pay off that one bond to increase our ability
Yeah,
so
it was
that
one
we
of
could
the
cover
costs,
those.
yeah.
And it ended up being that the bond that we are looking at, which is a future discussion item for tonight, I believe, if I remember, number 6. So we'll talk about that there more. But we ended up deciding to keep the bond we were gonna pay off, and so we ended up putting those funds back in.
And so we get less, we take a.
Yeah.
lower-
And so as
I
we
get-
look at those budgets going forward, we'll be able to kind of get us back to where we wanted to be with getting all of the proper I's dotted and T's crossed. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, do you guys have any questions?
No.
I'm gonna open it up a little bit beyond the agenda to a degree. This is the first time you guys have met Charlene, if my
Yeah,
memory
welcome.
serves me right.
Thank you.
Charlene and I have spoken.
Yes.
They haven't made a long-term decision. They made a short-term decision, and so your name's still in for that, for Mount Nebo.
For what?
Mount Nebo, I talked to you about Mount
Oh,
Nebo water.
yes, you did,
Yep.
yes.
Or is it
yes,
Sumba? One of the two, I can't remember.
Yes, yes.
So they made a short-term decision for now, and then we're gonna get,
Okay, just to give you a little background, maybe if you've got just a
Of course.
couple of minutes. I have worked for the South Utah Valley Solid Waste District for 35 years. I'm a stayer. I've only had 5 jobs in the last 4 years. I was the accounting manager for Provo City for 12 years and the finance director for South Jordan and Draper City for 8. And so I do have a little bit of experience right now. I also have a full-time job. I run an affordable housing, executive director of an affordable housing organization, so I understand real estate extremely well. When you said, we wire transfer back and forth all the time, I buy and sell hundreds of houses. I've got 6 affordable housing projects going in the state of Utah right now. I am considering retiring in about 5 years, and this is one of my jobs that I'd like to keep. My daughter told me, she says, "Oh, Mom, does that mean you're going to retire and only work 40 hours a week?" I said, yeah, probably. So anyway, I am honored to work with all of you, and thank you for having me.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
so I am going to stay while you possibly approve this.
Perfect.
are you driving home tonight?
No, I'm actually in Orem.
Okay,
Home is St. George.
I know, that's why I was asking if we needed
No,
to
on
rush and get
Tuesday
you out of here.
nights, I'm always in Orem at our Orem office. So I work Tuesday and Wednesday in Orem. And then I drive back down and work Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday somewhere else in the state or from my house.
Exactly.
What day do you get off?
I don't know, 2000 and something. I don't usually
Middle of the
take
night
days
when
off.
she's sleeping.
I am a widow. I've been a widow for 3.5 years, and so between me and my 2 puppies, I have to have something to do. And this keeps me busy.
It keeps you young.
You know, it does. I
Keeps
think
your brain
so.
sharp and.
Yeah, and you know, Alzheimer's is not gonna happen because my kids don't want to take care of me, so there you go. Anyway,
We're grateful to have you.
Thank
So
you.
thank you so much.
yeah,
So,
thank you.
and so just for your information, when you're able to join us here at council, you know, we have kind of some rules on how we operate within the council meeting.
Sure.
So when the community is here, we don't have anybody from the community here except for Doral, but he's pseudo community. We try and restrict those comments that interrupt the flow of the meeting, but as
Absolutely.
staff, and you have something to input, please feel free. You know,
Okay, I will.
just like Wayne did earlier.
For the most part, though, I have been to so many council meetings. You noticed I was very quiet. I wanted to jump up and go, you know, you hired me for that. You know, you hired me for that. You hired me for that too. But I do know protocol and very much respect that.
So, well.
But he's
feel
saying
free.
you can speak up. Is what he's
That's
saying.
what I'm saying.
He's inviting you to speak up.
For the most part, I'm very careful.
And let me know when the fire hose gets down so I can start asking you questions,
Drink it
because
out.
I get pretty,
He's passionate.
He dives in the weeds.
Yeah, That's cool. I love that. I love to have discussions with the auditors. I mean, John and I made friends instantly, and
He's a good man.
it's been a joy to do this. Like I said, Lori's been extremely helpful, so is Jody, in just helping me kind of get my feet on the ground. But I was able to tear into the budget and dissect it, and pretty soon I feel like I will be comfortable to present you with financial statements at your meetings.
Wonderful. Well, Charlene, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to move to number 4, with our proposed auditing services. So this is on the agenda because we discussed this last council meeting about sending our auditors to RFP. I then, called each of you after my discussion with the auditor concerning the contract, and I gained more insight there as I discussed with each of you. And so we have decided not to go to RFP right now, though we are going to send all of our professional services to RFP in January. If we sent it to RFP right now in kind of right at the beginning of the auditing season, probably wouldn't go so well for us. We might not have many because most people are already booked out. Also, the contract from our current auditors was actually just a pricing model and not an engagement model. So it was just saying, if you go with us, this is what it will be costing wise for the next 6 years. So he's excited to join in on the RFP process in January. He thinks that's a great idea. He's actually set it into his calendar to email me and remind me that we are headed to RFP. So very impressed.
I've done research on the Larson Group, and they're very well respected in what they do. And I don't know that I would want to change. I know they recommend it, but with what, just as part of my research, they are the best in the state, by leaps and bounds. And I am not afraid of audits. And I think audits are a way for us to get better and always look for the best auditors when I do that. And I'm used to aerospace. I'm used to getting audited weekly, literally. And I've been impressed with what I saw from, I've looked at them before, but never looked at them as far as, okay, let's dig into the company. Let's find out what other people are thinking of them, find out what other auditors are thinking of them, find out what the state thinks of them. And everybody holds them as the gold standard in the state. So just as we get into it, once we do go to RFP, that's something to think about, that they are really, really good.
I think with that, I think the company is really good. We've used them for a while. I think part of that, maybe more external control then, is not having the same person be our auditor from that company for too many years.
They rotate yearly.
They rotate yearly, and that's what I like, because some others don't, and that they have an account manager or auditor who's over you, and they get comfortable. So knowing that they rotate every year is very reassuring to me, that they're not just stuck with the same relationships. Because it's easy in a small town to build a trusting relationship that may or may not be there.
Well, and I think that's why we were looking at that, is because we didn't, with our previous employee, we just wanted to make sure the relationship wasn't too close.
Yeah.
And so that's why we were talking about it out.
Mayor, do you want to clarify that those contracts, though, that are not due for you said all contracts will go out to
I thought our plan was to send all contracts to
All
our
professional?
all professional contracts that
because
we
you
were
have some
implementing.
that sign for longer than a year. IT is a
Oh,
contract.
Yeah, and we just signed Charlene, so I don't know that we want to send
Yeah.
that back out.
The professional services, so the ones I'm discussing, thank you for that request for
So
clarification.
most of our professional
So
services.
that'll be our engineering firm, that'll be our attorneys, that'll be our garbage services and our auditing services. Did I miss any there? So
Those are accounts that are expiring.
those are accounts that we have not sent to RFP as recently as we should.
Okay.
So to get them into that cycle.
Garbage hasn't been
We
that
have
long.
not done garbage, we need to do ourselves.
Garbage
We
needs
just need
to
to
go
do it
as
again,
well.
but it's
So
only,
I think
it's only
we're-
been a couple of years.
I think we're at 4 years.
Has it been that?
So,
Is
yeah,
that-
because it was when I first got to the council.
So is that a recommendation or is it a requirement, the RFP process?
It's a little of both.
Okay.
The requirement angle, I think some of them are coming up on that requirement. Our engineers are coming up on that. our attorneys, due to the fact that we have been legally engaged for such a long time, we have not sent it to RFP, though we should, and so we're still going to do that.
I mean, and just to clarify for the record, we did all have that conversation individually with you, and my position on it is that, yeah, with the change of our director of finance, shaking up to a new auditing firm would be a mistake for the city. So keeping that consistency in place seems like the right idea.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Okay, anything else there, you guys? Okay, then we'll move to number 5. So the review of the sponsorship agreement between Woodland Hills and Utah County for the America 250 funds. So you guys have received that contract. It's in your packet. I just need your guys' approval to sign it. I have all of the receipts tabulated here. They came in at around $1,748.07. So this agreement is for $1,500. And so what that basically is covering is for the flags that we have purchased, for the lighting of the flags, for the banner, for the advertising of the America 250 potluck.
I think really helped get people there.
100%. We have 2 receipts from Costco for the hot dogs, buns, condiments, things of that nature, and then also for the root beer that was served. And so it does exceed a little bit, which we knew it would. I'm actually looking to potentially add into our next budget, so 2028 budget, we add to our stockpile of flags, because I'd love to continue to do that as an ongoing tradition, having them running up Woodland Hills Drive and Summit Creek Drive, to continue to increase those numbers.
I would have liked to have seen those stay up all of July.
They will be headed back out.
Okay.
So that's why the rebar is still there.
You pulled one on us there. Remember, you and your kids were gonna be pulling those up every night, and then you went, so that's where the extra money went, so you were being lazy.
It is true.
But then somebody went and stole one of our flags, couple of our flags.
Somebody stole 2 of the flags, which is
I
frustrating.
got so many people want to know where Jody found those. Everybody loved the lights on them, thought that was, I mean, I got lots
of comments about the flags.
about them. It was.
People told me it gave them chills to drive up.
It was, people
Woodland Hills Drive.
were, and they loved it. They absolutely loved it. And I think the lights were a great idea. You know, you didn't pass it by us.
I agree. I think, well, unfortunately, that was 100% on me, Brian. I failed to triangulate and coordinate my schedule between when I personally was also going to be out of town.
I think
And
it turned out
the
perfect.
trip,
I think it
so-
couldn't have been better.
An individual who's volunteered to cover the additional cost, if that seems to be.
I think we can find a couple $100 in the budget. I don't know
It
about
is in the budget, but if they want to make that donation, we're always willing to accept a donation. So let's discuss this tomorrow in the office and we'll see who it is, and if they're ones that are, chronic donators, we'll maybe chat about that.
They can donate to get us more.
Chronic
In my opinion, is
Exactly.
we gotta pay for it. I think
I would love to see also, and maybe setting up the opportunity for people to get their own flags out in front of their own house. We'll need to talk about that in the future, discussing what the logistics may look like on that. But I'm of the decision and thought that more red, white, and blue in our city during July and Flag Day and other times is only a good thing.
And I know it used to be kind of a scouting project that was done throughout the city. And it was really cool when it was just everywhere. And then that went away. And so I know that there are some younger people who have started businesses doing the flags, and people are paying them to do it. So it might be another option to have other young people as their business, that people work with them rather than just us.
I would love to.
I don't want to I don't want to compete with our
So,
young
I'm gonna ask
entrepreneurs.
a question, it might be just a non-starter, but would it be possible to have a flag kit with a light and the pole and the flag? Would it be too much for the office, Jody, to be able to sell those at the city cost in the office and say, hey, look, we've got these available if you want them. We've got them at the city office and we buy a stock of them and continue to purchase them. Would that be too much on the staff? Because I think, I don't know that we don't want to make money on it. We just something that we can,
I just
offer.
didn't want to compete with our young people who have businesses
Let
doing
them
it.
come by
So that's what I'm thinking is
Yeah.
that maybe.
So
I think
Make sure
there's
that
some
we're-
good opportunities. Let's think about these. Let's brainstorm this because I'd love to increase the amount of flags in the city as we continue to go on. I would also love to see this potluck be an annual thing.
Oh, yeah.
Now, maybe not on Sunday going forward, but
didn't hurt.
I actually think Sunday was a great
think it
day.
worked out well.
It was fantastic.
It was a fabulous event.
Good job.
Janet, Dan, you guys did a fabulous job.
It was great.
Shannon and Les Gilbert were fabulous chairs on that event. The people that showed up, we really want to thank.
Also
all.
Dennis, Lisby,
Dennis
he
Lisby, yep.
he did the entertainment and he volunteered. I brought it up at another meeting that I was at with him and he just said, I'll just do that. I'll take care of that. And I said, okay. I didn't even have to ask him, so I appreciate that.
He is fabulous. But I've gone off the agenda, so Jody's probably about ready to start throwing stuff at me. This is actually not about all that as much as it is about this contract that does put us in an agreement with the county. So I will need to submit this packet to them to go over all the itemized elements of this. We are obliged in that contract. So as you share any more pictures from that event, if you can, just put sponsored by Utah County
Okay.
on those things. But we will, if you guys do vote for me to sign that, I will sign that, get that all sent over, and we can get that reimbursement of the $1,500 from the county. They were really excited about that.
I'm glad that they chose to help the cities in that, because I think that as I saw different people posting pictures around, some cities did it as a whole city like us, some did it as neighborhoods. But it was just neat to see all these different people just getting together as a community in whatever size and shape or form that they wanted, but that the county acknowledged that that's an important thing, and that helped us be able to know of what parameters we wanted to put on our celebration.
Yeah, it was so fabulous. Just for a FYI as well, county currently is looking to do a joint city, and we're trying to fill out exactly what that looks like. Fireworks show that will be on Utah Lake. So it'll be shot out of the center-ish of
For
Utah
4th of July?
Lake for the 24th of
For the
July.
24th,
So,
For safety reasons.
yeah.
I think that helps, the
Basically,
decreases
just put a
the
barge
chance.
out there.
Well,
Little
so,
barge.
so
Bird
where
Island.
Kinda like the Malibu.
where I grew up in northern Idaho, in Coeur
You can walk
d'Alene,
out there.
that's what we do every year. It's a big barge, and everybody actually goes out in their boats and watches as it comes up out of the barge.
4th of July, we were at Henry's Lake and they did
Very,
that on
very
Henry's
fun.
Lake.
Salem Days is coming up. That's what they do. They have a barge that goes out on Salem Pond.
Yeah,
That's really fair. A lot of them. There's some on the side, and we get to shoot water at the barge sometimes.
it's fun.
Okay, any other questions about that contractor agreement?
Nope.
Okay. Update on the pavement preservation project and road bond, Community Development Director and Fire Chief Ted Mickelson.
An all-around good guy.
Future helicopter pilot.
Your biggest antagonist is now seeming to be your largest cheerleader.
No kidding.
I know, we talked about this at staff meeting, and I think we're getting close.
He's wearing her down.
Yeah, yeah. So we had a pre-construction meeting for the pavement management project that we'll be doing. They got their schedule just a couple of days ago, and they're planning to start some activity next week. So you'll start seeing some activity next week on the streets. They'll be basically lowering all the manholes and valve boxes and stuff like that, because they gotta lower those down to grind the pavement. And then starting August 3rd, that week, they'll start grinding pavement and grading, and then putting down the new asphalt for the streets. So they're gonna do it in like 3 segments, kind of like 3 segments. So they'll go through and they'll grind and grade and pave one section, then they'll start over again on another section. It takes about a week and a half to 2 weeks per section. So there'll be 3 of them. Take about 6 weeks. That's what
So are you gonna do similar to what you did last time, where there's some sort of a notification that goes out to those affected, and so that they'll know which roads are
Door hangers.
closed?
Well, that takes all the fun out of the project. We just like to keep guessing.
All around good guy, huh?
Take back what I said.
We like to keep it exciting in our community. We'll be using our new notification software that we have to let residents know. I'll probably send one out tomorrow, just letting them know dates. I don't have specific, I've asked the contractor for the specific dates of specific streets. And then we can also use our new platform to notify those streets. And then they will also be doing door hangers and doors like they did before. So kind of the same process, and there'll be traffic control up and stuff like that.
And what about, you did a map last time too, that then we were able to put on social media, just to show all the residents, this area is right now, you know.
Right, it'll be the
impacted.
same thing. We'll have the map, we'll have a link to it in our new software and all that kind of stuff when we send it out. I'm just waiting on the more detailed information. I don't have that yet.
On Yopify, do you have us included on all send outs, even if we're not in an affected area?
So we can, so Yopify is like Everidge. We can, everything I've sent out so far through Yopify is went to everybody. But we can map if we want to send out certain areas, you just go pick on a map.
Yeah, so if you do that, like we did that we changed Everbridge to where all of us were getting it, because we'll get calls from people and we're not in the area, we never get the message. So you could add all of us on Yopify.
You can.
So each one of those.
You have to pick the map area, and then you have to individually select the others you want to add.
Okay, yeah, if you could make sure that we get added to those, and probably Lori and Jody as well, and Wayne.
As best as I remember, I'll try to do that. I realize I'm climbing up in years. So this will take till somewhere around the first week of September. So, I mean, it's going to impact the community. We're going to have to, some detours and stuff like that. But I think the end result will be great to have these roads redone.
So they'll have our roads to worry about, and then the county roads, and then Salem roads. So we're still gonna be able to get out, right? Between the 3 projects.
Somehow.
Worst case scenario, no.
Then we're gonna be able.
You just need a helicopter.
Other out, yep.
So
Ted's gonna be giving people shuttle.
I'll give people rides. So this project does include Woodland Hills Drive, the segments that weren't completed with the last projects. Beyond that, most of the work's gonna be done at the top of the city. So Eagle Nest, Loafer, Autumn Leaf Circle, Deep Forest. So a few of those. So other than Woodland Hills Drive, most of it will be up on the top of the city. So generally, most of the community won't be impacted, plus Shadow Ridge.
Yeah.
So we'll have a lot of the community that won't be impacted very heavily, or the main travel routes, other than once we get Woodland Hills Drive done. But there's a little piece on Willow Reed too. So, but Summer Creek Drive's all done, and most of Willow Reed is done. Just a little piece there. So I suspect
Chain breaker.
Yeah.
What's that?
The chain breaker for the plows, right there at the end of Willow Reed. That's a bugger when you're on a plow on that one.
Yeah, so I think it'll be great to have them done. So that's the schedule on the pavement management plan. As far as the bond for it goes, we went out to RFP for essentially a bank to bond for the project, the 1.4 million. got 3 back. Our council felt like the interest rates on those were just a little higher than he was liking. And he thought there may be some better options to get a little bit lower interest. In doing some research, he found a loan bank, basically, for lack of a better term, through UDOT. It's called the State Infrastructure Bank. And they will loan out money through the State Infrastructure Bank, and it's a little lower interest rates than you'll get in the market. Could be a 0.5 point to a point lower, which saves us, some good money over 10 years. So he recommended that, so I reached out to them, filled out the application this week. We'll be working on some more paperwork. We'll find out in August. They have a board meeting in August that we'll be going to. We'll find out if they'll fund the project. If they fund it, it takes, I think he said 10 days to close on it. So we'll have the money in place before our first pay request is due to the contractor. If it doesn't get funded through the State Infrastructure Bank, then we can go back to the lowest of the 3 that submitted and go with them.
And we still got some funds that allotted that we already have, so we could make a payment if we needed to,
So I'm working with the UDOT contact right now to get all that information filled out, and then we'll go to the board meeting.
Yeah, so we just have the options, and we'll see. We'll take the best rate, and we will get it funded. It's just a matter of which selection we make. Okay. Any questions for Ted on that?
So I've got a question that's not really on here, but it is in relation. July 1st is come and gone. How is water funding looking? Have we been able to put in an application for?
No, we didn't get an application into the state for SRF funds through the state yet.
Are you waiting for Burgess? Is that what you're waiting on to find out?
Yeah, because we don't know how much they're going to. When we submitted for the grant with Burgess Sullivan's office, the request was for originally 2.9 million. They asked us to give them phases at which we would be comfortable funding. So the short of it is, it ranges anywhere between $1 million and 2.9 million. We don't know how much of that we'll get, if any. We are number 4 out of 20 on the list, on his list. So it's a good chance we're going to get something. We don't know how much yet. And I wanted to wait to find out how much we're getting from him and then supplement that with state. Because if you take funding that you have already acquired to the state, you have the chance of getting better funding with the state because you're leveraging it with the funding you have. Now, the other caveat to that is you can't use federal money to leverage federal money. So then I have to work with the state to get it out of their state money, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So
there's no jeopardy there's no chance of us losing the opportunity they're not going to cut off applications because they've had enough of them
No, the way the state works, it's a revolving fund.
Yeah, but they cut off applications for over 6 months. So.
That wasn't because of funding. Yeah. That wasn't because of funding issues. That was because, and I actually was sitting in the board meeting and supported and voted for that to put the moratorium on. The problem was during
it's all your fault.
The problem was during the ARPA era.
Yes.
They had so many applications and so much funding that went out that they just kind of lost track, for lack of a better term, of what was going on. And they have so few staff to manage all this. So what they wanted to do is take a 6-month breather and catch up on all of this to figure out exactly what they had out, what they had coming in before they kind of re-engaged.
Okay, I just don't want to get caught in that again because everybody's been waiting for 6 months and they're going to get inundated, and then I don't want to be SOL because we didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah,
sense. I trust your judgment on it.
Yeah, I think if we can find out what, and I've tried to reach out to Burgess Owens' office and haven't been successful in getting.
Oh, he was with the president earlier, so he was busy.
Well, I work with one of their staff guys who I work with, and I haven't been successful in getting a response from him.
Follow in? I'd follow up. I was talking to him.
If you have any contacts, I'm gonna just try and keep reaching out to him to find out. I mean, the timing of it, I don't know what the timing is.
I know, and we're all anxious for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. I don't like these.
Wait for the next
Saturday
break.
night, 1 in the morning water line breaks.
Thank you for.
Get to that. Don't you worry. Anything else on water or on the pavement management plan?
Are we talking other grants too, or just the?
We're headed right into the other grants, so Ted, update on our other grants.
So the other one we've been awarded is the pickleball court grant, and we have engaged with our engineering company and have a contract in place. They have actually surveyed the property. I've been up there and surveyed the park already, so now they're working on what they call the base map. Now they're putting all the nuts and bolts into the plan, and then they'll start the design, so that one's moving along. I asked if they can push this one and maybe start something this fall on the project, so hopefully, I don't know, how, it depends on the season, whether we'll be able to start something this year or not, but we're gonna try.
Details on that, can we see plans on that?
You don't have them yet.
I don't have them when we have them.
Okay, no
That's what the
concepts
engineers
yet
were.
or anything, okay. The reason why is I have been doing quite a bit of research on if we are wanting to do a fundraiser for some of that. I found some brick options, there's quite a few out there.
Cool.
Yeah, so.
The pavers or whatever.
Pavers
yeah.
or whatever we wanna do, we could even do benches, plaques, we can do all kinds of things, so.
Can sell paddles that say Woodland Hills on them.
Literally, yeah, I mean, we can kind of make this a cool thing and get some community involvement, but somewhere along the way, we should probably all sit down and just discuss if there's a good strategy around that.
Why don't you, get with Mayor and Jody and put some stuff together and just get it on the agenda?
So, and I can show you, when we submitted the application, we kind of came up with, here's where we want the pickleball court to go. And we had some ideas in talking with the engineers. So that trail, from where the flagpole is, there's a trail that kind of goes
Back.
south
Yeah.
along and then drops off the hill. That trail's gonna come out because that's where the pickleball court's gonna go, and we'll have to move it around. We'll still connect those two pieces, but we'll move it towards the pavilion, the trail. But we thought that might be a nice spot to have a paver area right through there on the pickleball court, maybe put a couple benches, and those could be donated items that would connect. We're gonna build a trail, an ADA trail from the parking lot over to the pickleball court. So we connect that trail to the other trail by the flags, and that would be a nice spot.
Yeah.
So, I think something like that'd be great.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it would just be like discussing scopes and quantities and strategy around it, costs, all that stuff. So
Once we get kind of a preliminary plan, from them, a preliminary layout plan, we could probably start coming up with some of these square footage areas and stuff like that. I think it'd be good. Then we have some good information to go out.
Yeah, and I need the square footage for, if I can get the coatings donated or at least at good pricing, so. I need that, once I get that put together.
During our kickoff with the paving contractor, we also talked to them about paving the parking lot.
And if we might could get this kind of information, and decide on it prior to Woodland Hills Day, we could sell the pavers at Woodland Hills Day, even though they won't be put in till next year, next summer, fall, or spring.
Just have signups.
But we could have signups for those who are wanting to do something right
Probably
away.
want some pictures or posters, like conceptual of what it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we had all of that and
yeah,
show them what a paver will look like, with the name in it. I think
Yeah.
that would be.
I think
Good idea.
people would be, that would get them all excited, and again, if we want to do the paddles or whatever we want to do, if we had a little booth at Woodland Hills Day just to talk about it and showcase where it's gonna be there and
yeah.
that kind of thing.
We have the paddles are fun. We have one, something. It's kind of fun. Whenever we pull it out, we're like, oh, it's a pickleball. It's a, what's the other one? Ping pong, but it's just fun because it's kind of a memory thing.
Yeah. Okay, well, I've got a lot of information, so whenever we want to connect and just kind of come up with a strategy, however we do that, I don't know if we put a task force together or what. I mean, I hate to.
Once the design is put together, we'll know more and have a better idea of maybe how big the pavers could be, at benches, what size of donations are you looking at?
Get PTR
and
involved.
With each one, because you might have a gold level, you might
They
have a
want to
bronze
be
level.
both.
you might have a silver level.
Yeah.
I just don't wanna be over it.
Yeah. It's your PTO, sorry.
I would say by the next council meeting, we'll probably be pretty close to having a
So Steve feels like.
plan far enough along, we might start pulling off some quantities in some areas and stuff like that.
Yeah, it'd just be nice to know the whole scope, because beyond that, I also feel like beyond a monetary donation for people that might be a little more strapped, that may want to donate some time to some benefit to the city or the project, maybe that's an option. So
And
different
that'll probably
discussions we can have.
A little bit later, when we're probably a little farther along in the plans. when We
Yeah.
have a kind of a full grasp of the scope.
But still capture them.
Yeah, just.
Right? That's
so
the
that
the
everybody's-
point.
There
is-
are some ideas we've had is we gotta relocate
Did some
sprinklers.
community buy-in.
That's on us. So we got a bunch of sprinklers we gotta relocate. So those that have that capability can help us out there. Some things like that. We're gonna have to replant some grass probably once we dig this up and some things like
Married to
that.
somebody that can do all of those things. And I'm really good at volunteering. you know.
Holding him.
So I think
Always
we'll have some good
voluntold.
ideas, of some things they can do.
Yeah, so anyways, there's quite a bit of opportunity here and a pretty streamlined process with the company I contacted. So.
Great idea, thanks.
Cool, great, okay. Wonderful.
Fire?
Next,
Is there-
discussion of, you might as well just stay there for a second. But we have a discussion on large purchases. So in the budget, we have allocated, repairing the city center. So that is, this whole wall needs to be ripped off and redone because it is leaking currently into the building. And I hear leaking into building is bad. And then there's a number of spots all the way around the building. We are budgeted for this in the budget. The bid that came back is what is in the budget, and that is $32,047.38. Which is, there's an extensive amount of work that needs to be done. And so that is what this large purchase request is for.
Did it go out to multiple bids or just did you just get a single one?
I just got the single one, though we could.
I don't know,
send it out.
I think we
It's-
were required at 40, right?
It is, yes.
So we're okay being under 40, but just going with the single source.
What was the amount again? Sorry, Ben.
$32,047.38.
And it's all exterior work, or does that include interior work?
That's all exterior work. So that includes removal, demolition, garbage, or new OSB where needed. That includes all of the waterproofing, flashing, siding installed and caulked and then painted.
And what's the timeline for this? Are we thinking?
That would start, if approved tonight, that would start quite soon, next couple weeks.
You definitely want that done before snow
Winter.
flies.
So,
There,
yes,
is there a guarantee, a year's guarantee that goes with that work?
yes. Yep.
So that's my world is contracting, and
course.
I don't know the magnitude, the scope or whatever, but it feels high.
I'm more than open to other options.
Okay.
So, because if we can get it at a better rate with some
happy to help.
competent
Yeah.
competent
licensed
contractors, if I could speak, that would be helpful. Competent contractors, I'd love to head down this.
I think one of the problems we've had in the past is because our jobs are so small that most contractors have other big projects somewhere else, and we're just happy when we can find somebody that will come here. But if you know other people, that might be great.
Do we have enough information to put a scope of work, a sound together? It sounds difficult.
It is the other issue, and I'd love to talk with you, Steve, on this. Because of the way this building's built, the primary reason we have the leaking on this is this wall right here is foundation. So this is concrete right here. It's the same stuff Steve used to build his home. This wall is not. And so what's happened is this wall where it stops right there, because these trusses sit on the foundation wall. there is a ledge that was created and they need to build it needs to be flat on the exterior, and it was not done. And so it created a ledge by which snow, rain, water sits, and it has then wicked up. It has corroded the hardy, and so this whole section needs to be built out and then resurfaced.
Yeah, but it's just, to go out for multiple bid, you've got to have a good scope.
Absolutely.
Correct.
I would just suggest having people look at it.
You want to just do that?
That's
Yeah,
the
I
only
think
way
that'd
you
be
could
much-
bid this.
Because
It's a fairly, in all Lake Valley, it's really really small job. It's, you know.
I think the challenge, yeah, it's a pretty small job, and I think the challenge with the scope of work is then you're dictating what you want done.
That's my
Sometimes
work,
we don't
again,
know.
it's, yeah.
I think if you have someone come and look at it and give their, give their estimates based on what they recommend, and then then what you do is you take, at least because I worked a lot in Steve's world, only the heavy civil side. And, a lot of what we would do is we do what we call the best value, say who's giving us the best product for the best price.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the cheapest, not necessarily the most expensive, but what are we getting a good product for, the right price? So.
And let's get some people to look at it. Get
And I think
Steve
looking
and
at this
Ted
would be the
and
best option.
Maybe, who does our inspections? No, not the engineer. What's his name?
Who does what?
Lives over off of
Chris Tambasco?
Tambasco. Maybe have him just kind of look at that, help review him. Maybe he would be willing to do that. And you, Ted, you and Chris, and just kind of said, so you guys could put your brains together as experts in this field and say, yeah, this is the direction we want to go.
Yeah, and I think even if you have contractors, I mean, it's pretty, for the most part, straightforward. It's just a matter of how much you want.
Yeah.
Kind of like when we did our wall out here, I call up a couple, 2 or 3 companies, Geotex, and had them come and look at it and say, give me your thoughts on what needs to be done. And for the most part, they've all came to the same kind of conclusions and general costs, but at least that way you've kind of validated that kind of stuff. So I think if you got a couple, 3 guys that do that type of work, look at it and say, what you recommend and what's your cost? Then you just evaluate what they've done and what they're recommending, what their cost is.
So I've emailed each of you that bid. So you can go through and see kind of what they articulated. They came out 2 or 3 times to make sure to get that scope. So yeah, I'm more than happy. If we can find a cheaper and also reliable company, I'm game for that. This is a company I personally have used a lot. So I know their quality and the type of attention that they will give us, but that'd be great. Wonderful. Okay, departmental updates. Ted, Community Development, Public Works, Fire Department.
So just a quick update on the roundabout project. Spoke with the county today, and the design for the roundabout's completed. The property acquisition exhibits are all prepared. They had to make a change on it based on some conversations they had with 3 bridges. So those changes have now been made. Delayed the project a bit. So they're going to start working on property acquisition, but the project probably won't go to bid until this fall.
Sure.
So they'll start construction in the spring, probably. Sometime in the spring. So that's kind of their schedule now for the roundabout. The timing of that also is, works a little bit better with that sewer project. They were a little nervous because they're bringing that sewer right now up Woodland Hills Drive. That's the work on Woodland Hills Drive. They're bringing the sewer up for 3 bridges. And their fear was because their project for the county actually extends down Woodland Hills Drive a ways. And they didn't want to get the work complete and then have the contractor doing the utilities tear it all
Come in
back
and
up.
tear it up,
So,
like a patch job.
yeah, so they wanted to wait till all that was complete and
Makes sense.
so probably be bid out this fall and then start working the spring.
So if they're not going to start construction till spring, will we be able to use the mailboxes until then?
Yeah.
We won't need our temporaries this year, but we'll probably next spring.
Yeah, he recommended having them probably in place and ready by sometime around the first of the year. And then that way they're ready to go when they're ready to start their project.
Okay.
I've already updated you on the road project. I think that's the biggest things we have in Public Works right now. Water fountain at the park works.
Woo-hoo.
So that's the bigger news.
Did we just have a valve?
The phone a friend worked. No, it's not a valve. It is a process that I don't know that I could describe to you of how this thing works. But we got shown how it works, and it's kind of this tube that's plugged in one place. You got to plug it into another place, and it's anyway.
Drafting.
Sort of, yeah. It's lifting.
Exactly.
So anyway, we got it figured out, so it's working. Our wildland fire crew right now is on the Stookie fire. So they've been out there for about not quite a week now. So we're excited to see them paying their way this year. So they've got some good fires. We get some good stuff done here.
Unfortunately, they're local. They're all in Utah.
Yes.
I mean, a lot
They
of
have
them.
not left Utah this year. Well, I take it back. In the
Early they
spring,
did.
early they went out of state a couple
Out of
times,
state,
but
but
since
since
then they've
then,
been in
They
state.
stayed in state.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking most of them
I
would
went
be
out to
here.
the Stookie Fire last week, well, a few days ago.
So, anyway. That's all I have.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, Ted. You're free to run back to the back. Wayne, Planning Commission and Code Enforcement. Do you have anything?
Yeah, let me share a thought with y'all. In June's Wayne's World, I put out an open invitation to the city. If anybody had any thoughts or ideas about changing our ordinances, any of them, in any way, shape, or form. I got one response. So to me, it says that everybody's generally happy with the ordinances as they are. You can read it.
You know you said that on record.
Let's let it slide. Carry on. This is Wayne's time, everybody.
And the recommendations had to do with our fencing ordinance, interestingly enough. And some of the recommendations are already in our existing fencing ordinance. This person didn't realize that a number of years ago, they were updated some, and so the recommendations are already in place in some respects. So anyway, I just wanted to close the circle for the council to know that, and that, of course, we're open anytime somebody wants to make a recommendation, but anyway, that's what we got in June.
That's
Anyway,
great.
just
I'm
wanted
glad
to share
somebody
that with you.
reached out.
Yeah.
I'd
Well,
love
and
to see more
it shows
residents.
too that sometimes residents don't know what's there already, and I think that's a good thing too, to be able to say, oh, that's here, but your other part, let's consider that.
Very good, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Nothing for emergency management today. But we do have our 911 dispatch. So former fire chief, former assistant fire chief, former council member, and current 911 dispatch liaison. Noel Kinnison.
Extraordinaire.
And the only thing I know is July 4th next year is on a Sunday, so it kind of breaks our pattern. But anyway, I wanted to say that city get-together was one of the biggest that I've ever been to. It was quite remarkable. So well done, you who did it. So our Central Utah 911 dispatch meeting was canceled. And about 2 days later, they texted everybody and they said, hey, we got to get together. We got to get together as quick as we can. And so a whole bunch of us went down there and we met because Orem and Linden brought a big crew in to talk to us about joining our dispatch.
Oh,
And that's when we know it's serious, you know.
yeah.
So there were 7 of them that came, and it was one of the most interesting meetings I've ever attended. It was 3.5 hours long, and it was not boring. We had Linden Fire and Police. We had Orem's Fire Chief and Police, and I knew that Orem Fire Chief, so it was a good to go to some of those meetings with Ted and know him. So they were there, city managers, and they were very open and upfront with us. Their prices were really going up this year for Metro. They're on a system with Provo, and Provo runs the system and bills them. And so they decided to raise their rates. Anyway, it got where it was necessary for them to come to us and talk to us. Now, the state wants this to happen anyway, you know, and
The feds are pushing for
get
this.
these dispatch centers consolidated. So we went on, talked about a lot of stuff. There'd be $1 million buy-in for them to come to our dispatch, but they would bring with them some credits if they brought hardware and so on that the dispatch could use. Of course, that would
What about
reduce
dispatchers?
What's that?
You know, what about employees that would, they
Yeah.
would bring in those too? Because we are always looking for new dispatchers.
Yeah, they would have to gear up. We'd have to gear up. Luckily, we would not have to knock out a wall and build more building right now. We could fit the dispatchers in there that would handle them. They'd have like 6 more dispatchers that would just kind of be added to the group. The final numbers, there was a big argument about that. And I learned a little bit about one of the cities in the county whose city councilor was there as a representative. He's a butt. And I go public saying that. I didn't say which city it was, so, but anyway.
He knows who he
And
is.
we got into a real heated discussion, and frankly, I was embarrassed about us doing that in front of Orem and Linden, you know, potential customers, you know, so I kind of got animated and we ended up voting and passing on the agreement that we wanted to give Orem. And basically what it means is everybody's costs that are already on dispatch would reduce 20% every year. So that means to Woodland Hills, we would pay $4,000 less every year. And that's not a bad thing, you know. So plus I think we'll get better service because they'll have better equipment and they can beef up and add to it, you know.
So it's a done deal?
No, well,
Okay.
it could be.
This is kind of
Orem was gonna go back and we'll hear about it next meeting, probably what their answers are. If they say yes, then we start the process and it takes a year to get everything worked out, training, all the employees hired, all that sort of thing. Then, yeah, take a good year to get them converted to us. There's hardware stuff involved too. There's radios and so on. So that's the story from that. But I'm just
You think both of them will want?
yeah,
on there?
yeah, they'll
Okay.
come as a package.
Okay,
There was also a representative at the meeting from Metro, which is the name of the company that runs them currently. So they were, you know, big ears to see what we were gonna do too. So that's the gist of that. So I'll keep you updated.
Thank you, Nora. Appreciate you. Okay. So mayor and city council reports. If we can, Councilmember Hutchings has requested to be able to run a presentation during his, so he may exceed the 5-minute request or less.
I asked for a 5-minute video and
That is, he'll be close. And then we'll discuss probably something about the video, but we'll see. I would like to start though, there's nothing really with MAG and COG. Things have been a little light with the summer months. SESD, everything is going well there. Yes.
I just heard there's something with the transfer station.
Getting there,
How
yeah.
about that?
So SESD, everything is actually looking really good at SESD. I don't know if you guys have heard, Steve probably has, that Rocky Mountain is raising their rates quite significantly again. We are not. We have no price hike in the near future. We're actually looking at buying. So SESD is a brokerage. We do not make any of our own power, electricity. We just buy it off the market and then service the different areas within the SESD network. It is quite fascinating because we are part of a group that currently has kind of also now gotten in bed with California Power. And so we're contractually obligated to kind of join with those different board decisions, I'll put it that way. We are currently potentially going to be able to sell that contract to a different city who is in desperate need of that electricity. And we are going to, no,
Okay.
no, we're potentially going to start getting power from a plant out in, I think, out on the west side of Utah. And with that, we will be able to potentially actually push down the number of savings to the members of SESD.
That'd be nice.
Really excited about that possibility. We're working on it. It is not a done deal by any stretch, but something to think about. Now, the Dry Creek Transfer Station. The Dry Creek Transfer Station had a really fun weekend. And by fun, I mean not that fun. On Saturday, just around noon, we had an individual, a resident of somewhere, we don't know who it is, came and delivered and dropped off some sort of flammable liquid. That flammable liquid, from what we are seeing in the camera feed as we watched, kind of who was there and when it got dropped off, something sparked it and the flame rolled across the pile. That's why we're not thinking it was a battery. And why we're thinking it was a liquid of some sort. Due to one critical failure of the new transfer station's emergency systems, mainly the exploding open door, kind of what's the sunroof? The skylight on the roof. They are supposed to blow open. I learned today, because I went down there today, because they're open today. I went down and apparently that company is no longer in business. So we can't even warranty them.
Oh.
So that's not the good news, but they did not open like they would. So it trapped most of the smoke, which was horrendous. We had zero visibility, but the fire was triggered and alerted to Spanish Fork and dispatch via our infrared heat cameras. So that worked perfectly. But by the time our individual who was trained on our water cannons in the ceiling was able to actually get to the controls of the water cannons, there was zero visibility. And so we had our sprinkler system though that activated and was doing its job. But because we could not see, we tried to just throw the water cannons around to try and keep the temperatures down, which worked until we kind of pulled, by the time all other departments showed up, they pulled pretty much all the water that Spanish Fork could deliver to that region of their city. And so we turned the water cannons off by instructing a few of the firemen that ran in there for us to turn those off. And thus that really kind of helped bump it a little bit. Our department was dispatched there. So thank you for that. Brian himself was there. But there is really very, very minimal damage. The net had right above where the fire was, we had a slight melting, and that was it.
Wow.
So the burn net is mostly fine. We had a structural engineer there yesterday. There was no structural damage to the building at all. All compactors were protected by the push wall. The building worked exactly as it was designed, minus the smoke.
It was a lot of smoke. They didn't open.
So we had a few firemen go up and cut the skylights open to try and help ventilate. There was a lot of chatter that was misinterpreted. We'll leave whom anonymous, but I had heard at one point the roof of the building had collapsed. I had heard we had lost a fireman, that we had one in peril. We lost two members of staff for the transfer station had been lost inside. None of that actually was true. And everything is working perfectly. So I went down there, like I said, today, and I delivered some garbage. And I was joking with the head of operations there, and I said, well, looks like we need a fire every year just to clean the building out, because it looks brand new. Squeaky clean. When you throw that much water into a building, you can really clean the floor really well. So worked out really well.
They set so much where they couldn't give them any more water. And it actually set off commercial fire alarms on their flow. They were getting flow sensors on 3 different fire alarms as we were leaving. There were 3 buildings that were evacuated because their fire alarms went off, and it was because the flow was running backwards.
Oh.
Because their pressurized systems backed off when the water pressure went so low that it caused it to see a flow alarm in their fire system. Ted knows about these things, and it was impressive.
They had to keep rotating the firemen out through it
Oh
because
my
of the
gosh.
smoke was so strong and the heat.
And the heat was unreal. And those guys were inside of there.
Well,
there was one I heard that got treated for a heat illness. 2, was there 2?
all that gear you
but
guys have on.
Springville's
It
CERT
was hot
team,
just
again,
outside.
another plus for what Aaron wants to do and bringing CERT here. Their Springville CERT team is like, they're the gold standard. They're awesome. And they were there and they were just taking care of everybody. Incredible group of people.
I was extremely impressed with the county, and so this is kind of a kudos to the fire department's integration across the entire county. Lehigh was in Spanish Fork backfilling because all of Spanish Fork's assets were at the transfer station.
Provo to Santaquin, every station from Provo to Santaquin.
It was impressive. So, but
That's awesome.
And then
building's
Warren
good.
got called out the next day to it,
Call out later that night.
or later that night, so.
Building worked. It's
10-hour
open.
fire.
Yeah, it was scary, but it was also impressive to see how fabulous it went. My last one is for the legal updates. I want to say something more on the record here. But for those that are not aware, that is fine. But I want to say something publicly, and I'll get in trouble later. But we have a dear friend publicly thinking that it is his personal job, which he has certain rights to do, to post certain political cartoons, which are fine. He has freedom of speech, which is fine. However, they have meandered outside the scope of just coming after the 6 of us. As elected officials, we have somewhat signed up for that degree of scrutiny. And if there is anything valid, legal, or truthful that needs to be brought forward by members of the community, we are always open to that type of criticism, or even better, suggestions for how we can make our city run better. Many of these have gone after former elected officials, which have been abhorrent and quite disgusting, as well as our staff. And if it proceeds, then discussions need to take place further on what the options are there. So if they want to come after the 6 of us who are politically elected, we are here to take those arrows for the community. But if they extend beyond that, we will be discussing with legal counsel what are the options to protect those that serve our community in non-elected positions. That is all I have to say on that. Carrie?
Yeah. Most recently, our clerk has been targeted for not having an advanced degree. And so I did contact the state and verified with the league that municipal clerks and recorders do not have to have a college degree to have their job. All qualifications are set at the local level. They have to be a registered voter and live within the municipality that they serve. In addition, we send our clerk to the Utah Municipal Clerks Association for multiple trainings. And if I'm correct, she has the Utah Certified Clerk credential, which means that she is up to date on her skills, her knowledge, and code. And so according to our standards, she qualifies. And personally, we know that including then institutional knowledge, she's overqualified for what we actually have her do. And we appreciate you, Jody, and we want you to know that we support you, and we want our residents to know, whoever listens to this, that our clerk is qualified 100% to be here in this position. There's no code, state code that is broken for her to be in this position.
Thank you.
I just want to add that I've sat in on a few meetings when we're having a discussion and somebody is trying to bring up some information, but they don't quite recall the details. And within 2 minutes, Jody's like, I just emailed it to you. She knows where, she has the record, she knows where everything is, she can find it fast. She's very organized and has an amazing system. And I just, the meeting I sat in on this week, I was impressed. There were several things that she just found them. And she sent them to the person that wasn't sure on the information, and she had it at her fingertips. And I mean, that's a huge asset. I just had to put my 2 cents on.
Perfect. On a lighter note, Councilmember Hutchings.
Okay, so, on January 1st, I'd sent you all the invite to the Central Utah meeting that was held. If you guys don't know about strawberry and how strawberry water came about, you'll learn a little bit in this video, but Strawberry Water has got a fantastic video on this I got to see, and you can check it out on YouTube. I recommend it. This one's also on YouTube. But this is talking about the papers that I gave to you. This is the NEVO, what is it called? Mutual, yeah, the NEVO Regional Water Project. There we go. So this is talking about the water plant that they're planning on putting down here across from 3 bridges and things like that. So this goes through, it's a really great video, and I think this is gonna explain it a lot better. So hopefully the sound. It's on YouTube.
Yeah, she just wants the link to put with the,
Oh, I can do that.
with the minutes.
What the heck? How do we do this?
You were close.
Do I have to unmute or something?
No, just crank it up. It might even be the TV.
It's on coming on my speakers.
Goshen in the west, and Juab
Let's start.
to the south.
Come on.
This is the southern reach of Utah Valley. It stretches from Spanish Fork Canyon in the east to Goshen in the west and Juab County to the south. It's a land of orchards, alfalfa country, home to 200,000 people, and in 40 years' time, 300,000 more. In the year 1899, South Utah County was a dry place, settled by intrepid homesteaders. The Utah Lake Basin water supply was overtaxed. It could only support limited agriculture and development in the South. A citizens committee was formed. Governor Heber Manning Wells received a petition to ascertain if the waters of Strawberry Creek in Strawberry Valley could be brought into Springville through Spanish Fork Canyon for irrigation purposes. The Strawberry Valley is a high mountain basin in the Uintas. Strawberry Creek was impounded by the Strawberry Dam, an earth-filled structure 72 feet high and 600 feet long. But Strawberry Reservoir alone would not deliver water to Utah Valley. The Wasatch Range stood in the way. A 4-mile tunnel was proposed to be dug through the mountain. 2 digging teams worked for 6 years. When the 2 tunnels met, they were mere inches apart. The Strawberry Waters reached Utah Valley in 1913. The project was a triumph of engineering, which has served our valley well. A century has passed. The Strawberry Valley Project, alongside the Central Utah Project, made possible the Utah Valley we recognize today. Without the remarkable foresight of our 19th century county fathers, only a fraction of South Utah Valley's agriculture would exist. Today, Utah Valley's demand for water is changing. The demands of our grandchildren's Utah Valley are not going to be the same as the present day. The stakes are high. The coming generations will depend upon our ability to supply them with water that will meet their needs. This once-in-a-lifetime challenge has been met by a proposal, one that matches the ambitions of those that lived 100 years ago. This proposal merges the visions of the Strawberry Valley Project and Central Utah Project, working in harmony to meet these future needs. The Nebo Regional Water Project, as it is called, prepares South Utah Valley and Juab County for the next century. The proposal includes the following: a state-of-the-art water treatment plant in Salem to supplement the limited aquifer sources. Enclosing the Strawberry Highline Canal to improve safety and water quality and to reduce inefficiency and loss. Clean, safe water pipelines to Goshen and Juab County. The plan also calls for a multi-use community trail atop the new Highline Canal pipeline. This proposal allows agricultural users to continue farming with an eye to the next 100 years. Our water needs have never been met by small ideas. Those who once proposed the Strawberry Valley Project could hardly comprehend the agricultural bounty their work would support. Today, we can only do our best to honor their foresight with forward thinking of our own. The Nebo Regional Water Project allows us to entrust Southern Utah Valley to future generations with clean water as our gift to them.
Walking makes you old. Tai Chi.
Okay, so
That might have been the greatest movie ever. I think he needs to do my video.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
Have you stood in a pasture?
I need to.
Yeah.
That would help.
Several of the places he was standing, I was like, I know where that spot is.
I know.
The one with the trees and he's by the road, that's Santaquin. Anyway, it was just funny. I was like, I know where he's
the
at.
Central Utah Water Project just laid last month its last piece of pipe. Now, the project's not over. That's actually gonna continue with more things. But what we're talking about is this Nebo project, that we've all heard about and have these, the expectations. So I wanted to give that to you and tell you that there's lots of information. And I have the contact for all of these organizations because I work with them at least monthly. And so if you have questions, if you have information that you would like to get out or to get from them, feel free to reach out to me. That's kind of what I'm doing there. This is actually pretty impressive what they put together and what they've started here. Central Utah Water is, you'll see it on your taxes, right? As part of our property taxes. They built that organization so that they could tax and actually put these infrastructure projects together. So that's the whole purpose of Central Utah Water. I'm on the Nebo board and I'm on South Utah Valley, which is supported by both of those. So.
Just a question.
So it's pulling out of Strawberry Reservoir, is that correct?
Yes.
So with new water going all the way down into say Nephi, Joab County, right now that water's not flowing down that far, or is it getting down there but just through inefficient channels of canals? Or I'm just wondering if you have a certain amount of water, now we're gonna add the tributaries out of that reservoir. What's the plan to keep, is the reservoir gonna?
So they actually, so what they're, there's a whole bunch of goals to it. One of the goals is to monitor, so we put into place monitoring of our aquifers and our groundwater, and this is a big groundwater source. And they want to be able to balance those pulls, and that's one of the big projects here. I mean, there's just not enough water. We're not getting enough water through the original tunnel. The dam is much larger than it was when they originally put it in. So Strawberry is, Ted, do you know, it's like 3 or 4 times the size it was originally? It's a lot bigger than it was. So there's more water to actually pull from there, and there's projects all over. This is just the one to get that surface water more available and more ready to use.
To help answer that a little bit too, Dan, things they do like enclosing the canal, that actually produces water. Like you're not losing it to the ground and to the evaporation.
Yeah,
So it actually produce water. So some of that now water becomes available to distribute to other counties. So Joab, the project is extended. I think it goes as far as Santaquin right now.
Yeah.
But eventually they want to get it over into Joab, and some of that will come through these savings of waters through the piping of the canals and stuff like that. A lot of these waters have already been blocked out for communities. Water they have, for example, we have a block that's available to us of this water. If we can find a way to make use of it. So they've kind of accounted for the water already, and then the savings that come also attribute to some of that water that's produced for these other, for Joab County. And Joab County was actually promised water as part of the Central Utah Project years ago. And that went away, and so now as part of this water project, they're see if we can get water back to them.
Yeah, I just wondered if, I mean, let's say it gets completed all the way to end state 10 years from now. I don't know how long it'll take. The water that's there from now until that it starts flowing that far south, does it just stay in the reservoir, or is it just being dumped into Utah Lake and then eventually down to, I mean, you see what I'm saying? So if you have a bucket full of water that's allocated to future use and that's not available to flow there, it's still staying in the bucket, or is it being let out and being used somewhere else? Like, is somebody going to be losing their water access because we're now going to be pushing it?
That I'm not sure of, and I can ask.
No, I'm just wondering, just because it's a big deal right now.
Yeah, they don't
in the
really,
state.
so that, in fact, they're producing more water. So that water now becomes available, for example, like Joab County, stuff like that. There's a whole bunch of commitments with this water too, because there's commitments for Utah Lake. You have to keep certain in-stream flows to keep.
That's kind of where I'm thinking. It's like, it feels like we're struggling just to keep our flow rates as they should be, especially in a drought year like this year. But in when we have abundant years, do we just let it just go and it ends up in who knows where, or is it saved in reserve for future use like these?
There is certain reserve that's kept in place, and as good it is, because this year with the winter we had a horrible runoff year, but we had enough reserves in the reservoirs to help us get through this year from the good winters we had.
Yeah.
Right? So there's enough reserve there. Now, if we have 2 bad winters in a row, then we're really gonna be
in trouble.
So if you looked at the beginning of this year, our reservoir elevations were all okay.
Yeah.
At the beginning, because of what we had stored from previous years, but, yeah, it's not a simple answer, but.
Makes sense.
They do, I mean, they did talk about how they built starvation, and after Strawberry, they ended up needing to build Starvation, and then they needed to build Jordanelle. And so all of those, as water needs are happening, they're gonna end up needing to look for more sources.
Is this tying into what was done down in Salem? I don't know if that was a federal project or
That's the same project.
It's the same project.
That was the Central Utah Water.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
this is a common, like a
This is
dovetail to
the,
that.
yeah, this is the next project after that one was completed.
Was that a federal project, the central? 'Cause I just remember seeing a bunch of federal signs like, thank you, Joe Biden.
By Central Utah Water Conservancy District, but Central Utah Water Conservancy District has, we'll call it two halves. They've got their federal side, which runs the federal projects, and that's run under the Bureau of Reclamation with the Central Utah District. And then you've got the state side that runs, like the Central Utah project is a state project. The, what was that project called? It was done back in the 30s and 40s and 50s.
I wasn't alive.
Shoot, it just slipped my mind, and I know. But that's a Bureau of Reclamation project. The Central Utah was kind of organized to run that Bureau of Reclamation project. And then just through savings and becoming a taxing entity, now they can also do state projects. So they kind of do both. So it was a federal project, but it was run
Through the state, through the state, okay. Great.
Through the
The
conservative
the
district.
Strawberry project, the tunnel, farmers went to DC and took a loan out from DC for $3 million. Farmers from here went, it wasn't the state, it was the farmers who went to go do that. And they put their necks out on the line to build that tunnel. The video that Strawberry has is a really good one too. So.
Wow.
I just want a stretch of open water with fish in it, so I don't have to go all the way to Strawberry to fish. Give me a fly fishing space right here through the pond. I'm all in.
Okay, perfect.
Fishing.
Actually-
over the canals. And
I want a reservoir in Woodland Hills.
Okay,
Over there.
now we're off
Okay,
topic. Good. Come on. Okay, Councilmember Jones.
No, that was my only comment.
It's fishing.
Was fishing, yeah.
You don't have,
That's where I
you
wanted
don't
to
have a
put my
report?
time.
You have a report?
The UVHBA.
I spent a lot of time with the UVHBA and the Utah Home Builders Association, so, yeah, but nothing meaningful for the group unless anybody's got questions. Great.
Councilmember Lund.
I got nothing. Just, we had the America 250.
It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were.
It was great. We had a good committee and, my only, it was hard. We had some opposition and so we were a little bit Debbie Downer about it. Just didn't know. I think a lot of people are afraid to, rock the boat. And so we were worried that a lot of people wouldn't come. But I was really proud of our community. We have a lot of rebels and I like it. Anyway, so it was.
For the record, I don't think they were rebels.
Yeah, is it rebellious to go to the park on a Sunday?
No, it shouldn't be. But
Or to eat with your neighbor?
we only shopped for 300 and I know we had a lot more than that. So I'm not sure. How that worked, but I know that there were people that said, I've got.
I cooked every one of those. I cooked every one of those hot dogs, and I'm telling you, when one dropped down on the ground, it was like we man down, like we were like resurrect. Somebody may have had a reclamated hot dog. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That was Doral. It's fine.
Yeah, I said, hey, Doral, this is yours.
His constitution is ironclad.
But we had 4 long tables set up for food donations and we had to add 3 tables
Was it
too.
enough?
And,
That was probably the
good
most impressive
food.
thing to me was we had a really long line. So what was nuts is as I was cooking them, the line's really long, and I'm just looking to my left. I'm like, there's like 20 people. What are we talking about? I didn't turn my whole body and see the line that
That
went
went all the
almost
way to
back
the
to the street. But yeah, the number of people that brought stuff, I was actually kind of concerned about that. I'm just saying.
I
when you
brought
do-
like 3 things.
When you
'cause I was
do a
worried.
potluck event, you're just really hoping everybody chips in. Otherwise, I mean, no pun intended. But otherwise, it's going to be a pretty sad looking hot dog fest there, And so it was just great to see the community. That was awesome. That was really great. And everyone, I think, had a great time.
By the time I got through the line, I had a hot dog and all the food I ever could have wanted. There was so much food and it was all really good food.
Good.
It was
yeah.
fun.
And the weather turned out perfectly. It was.
And we had quite a few people who were brand new residents or who just bought a lot and are gonna build come through and one of them said, well, we just wanted to come to see what kind of a community we were moving into, to see if we would fit. And we absolutely fit. This was perfect for us to come for our first thing. We had some people who hadn't been to a community event since before COVID and felt safe to come and be there. We had others who may have not come in the past because they're a little older and they worry about coming when
We had a
there's
lot of older people.
when there's a lot of little kids running around, or activities like a festival where there's people just going, where they could just sit down, enjoy their neighbors and be there and feel safe and comfortable. So that was great to have so many of them there. And then also there was quite a few that were visiting their, kids that are adults now, visiting their parents and coming back home. And so I thought it was a great community event, and almost everyone said we should do this more often. And I think people have missed community, and something that I know, Mayor, you've been, that was one of the things that you want to increase, and where people feel welcome. They feel like they can not just know who lives on their street, but who lives in our city. And so I thought it was great. Thanks.
The only shortfall was, the food, but it worked out. And then just the hot dog, I was worried. But then also Whitney and I we were the cleanup crew. So I would, make sure I have more helpers next time. Whitney helped me. These two were out on the curb yakking for like an hour and a half.
I put a bunch of chairs and tables away. I just had that condiment tray there that I was like, I don't know if a bear's gonna come. We had the bear out. It didn't do its job. Should've just left the food out. Just kidding. I apologize.
I was
No.
useless, so I'll comment to that.
It only mattered because I was still so sick. That was the thing, because I didn't feel well. But yeah, any other time I wouldn't care.
Today we received a number of phone calls here in the office, people just expressing their appreciation for the event, hoping that you do it again. Some said, I hear we're already doing it again, so.
Yeah, there's a rumor.
Greatly
It's
appreciate
real.
We're doing it again.
We are doing it again.
Okay.
Put it on the cycle of every year. This is now an annual thing.
Except for, okay.
Well, maybe we do it the Saturday evening or something.
Every year, we go to the cabin for 4th of July, so that's why I say that.
No, we'll work the schedule. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
We'll probably this next year, if Doral's correct, and the 4th is on Sunday, we'll probably push it to the Saturday or maybe the Sunday after. We don't have to necessarily put it right on top of the 4th, but we can.
Yeah.
I've never had anybody complain to me that we celebrate too much. When we get to that point, let's talk again.
Yeah.
Okay, other than Councilmember Johns, Councilmember Malkovich, Utah Valley Animal Shelter.
No report. We don't meet until August.
Perfect. Okay, Councilmember Roden.
Just from speaking of events, I've got the first iteration of our basically micro software that's gonna help us manage all of our events. So it's just, the purpose of it is to, from a data ingest perspective, to make sure that we have vendors of the past that we've used before, bids, documentation,
Are you capturing attendance?
counts, attendance, everything here. We have all the events basically here, and you're essentially, the way I designed it is you're going to essentially have a yearly season component. So each time you add the new season, you can draw from previous, so if you have vendors, copy and paste, say, tables and chairs for Woodland Hills Days. If we find a vendor who's good and affordable, we can easily pull them in, see what we paid the last time, get a bid. So, and it's all automated. So, and then everyone who is a chair or co-chair will be invited, and will have limited access, obviously, to certain things that it already has governance built in. And then as soon as they are released, their access will be removed, but we still have administrative use. So that is ready to go. We're gonna try it out in our next Woodland Hills Days meeting, see where there's gaps. I'll fill those gaps and then
That's great.
it'll eventually be deployed. My plan is to eventually deploy it on the Woodland Hills domain. So it'll exist on the domain and it'll be owned through the city. And then all the code and the data set can be managed by the city instead of. So
Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay, anything for upcoming council meetings?
I'd like to add that maybe we do a presentation about the pavers fundraiser opportunity, pickleball stuff for next meeting.
Just so we could start organizing it, I think we probably need to at least, right, on some level. I mean, it sounds like you've done a lot of work, so.
Yeah, it'd be nice to organize it.
I'd also like to see if we could get, this will probably be as we get a little bit closer, but like, it's always helpful if you have a goal instead of just an open-ended. Like if we can have a goal set of what the gap is between the funding and what we want to do, and because it does help when people know where there's a target. I know we did when I did Woodland Hills Days chair, we did an infrared camera fundraise, if I remember. And we knew what it was. We got a lot of $20 donations. That was awesome. And then we had a former mayor who saw a gap of $482, and that was her donation.
She asked, what are we short?
Yeah, she's like, what are we short? And she made.
And we told her and she, yeah.
And so it was awesome to see. So, but if we didn't know what we were raising toward, I don't know if anybody would.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So let's figure out what we're actually raising toward, so people feel like we're going toward a specific goal, and it's a good way to get people to kind of.
Will you get us a number, Ted?
Was that gap? Well, I think we need to understand what we want to do.
But just like what we.
Yeah.
Ted,
We'll work on that. We'll work on that. Okay, yeah.
Assessment, internal controls training, and, that you'll also, be looking at the fraud risk assessment score.
Perfect. Yep, that'll be next council as well. Wonderful. Thank you, Jody. Okay, let's take a quick break. It is currently 8:27 on my computer here. Let's start council meeting at 8:33. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. We're going to start city council meeting. We're going to start with an invocation from Councilmember Lunt and then a pledge of allegiance from Councilmember Johns.
our dear, kind, and gracious Heavenly Father, we're so grateful that we could gather together this evening as council and staff members to go over our agenda items and to discuss the needs of our community and help us to always be mindful of all of our citizens and what their needs are and what is best for the whole, and help us to continue to make improvements to efficiency and to be mindful of our budget. Father, we ask for thy continued blessings and watching over our community and keeping us safe from fire. Help us to be conscientious of our neighbors and to look out for them. And we're so grateful for this opportunity that we have to serve. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Join me in pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So used to looking at the screen, I'm starting.
We're used to looking at your belly. It shows like when you stand up.
Thank you, Councilmember Johns, for that. Thank you, Councilmember Lunt. We're going to open the public comment. Public comments are limited to 2 minutes per individual unless otherwise directed by the mayor. Comments submitted by email must be received by 3 p.m. on the day of the meeting to be included in the official record. Emailed comments will not be read aloud during the meeting, but will be distributed to the city council and included in the meeting record. So if there's anybody from the public, Doral, do you have anything here? No? Okay. Yes, Sherry Berger. You're still muted, Sherry.
Hi,
Hey, there you go.
there we go. Okay, public comment. I just want to express my appreciation for the fire department, the flags, and the friendship that we had over the 4th of July weekend. It was fabulous. In terms of fundraising for the park, I think it would be good if PTR can be involved from the standpoint of possibly informing at Woodland Hills Days what the plans are going forward, what we'd like to tackle next year, so that the community can become aware of the things that we're thinking about doing with regards to the park. Let's think a little big. I'm happy to help supply information. There's a lot of us in the city that are 70 and a half years older that have to take a required minimum distribution from our IRAs and our inherited IRAs. And those can be donated to the city directly from your broker and not coming from you, and therefore you don't pay tax on that money. Those could be substantial sums. We could plant trees, we could, get into some of the projects that we're kind of looking at down the road. So if we can see Ted's spreadsheet on what exactly, where the funds are going to be going this year. And again, I think it was, who was it, Dan, that said, let's come up with a figure that we're trying to raise. I think we can do really well. I really do.
Beautiful. Thank you, Sherry.
And Sherry, thanks for all your hard work. You worked really hard at the event, so thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Okay. Diana, do you have anything?
Nothing today, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, then we will close the public comment and we will move on to the consent agenda. And this is great because I don't have anybody online from the council, so we can actually, I don't think we have a single roll call.
Oh, it is raining.
Well, Carrie's usually gone in July.
raining.
Well, then we always have a meeting right before I go, so.
Okay, awesome.
Wonderful. Okay, then we will start with approving the minutes for the June 23rd, 2026 City Council meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Johns with the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilmember Malkovich with the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. Resolution 2026-44, approving the ratifying year-end budgetary and accounting adjustments.
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Malkovich with the motion.
I'll second.
Second from Councilmember Roden. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that resolution passes. Approval of the auditing services for 2026, and that is Larson and Co., right?
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Lunt with the motion.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
After the second.
After a second, if I get a second.
I'll second.
Councilmember Malkovich with the second. Now let's enter into discussion.
Okay. Is that for the 4,500 that was originally proposed? Okay, just
Yep.
wanted to
Yep.
get that.
Perfect question. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Are you talking about the $4,500 for the auditing services?
Yes.
Oh, I don't have that paper with me.
I've got a copy here. If it helps.
There should be 6 years of pricing there. So that's if that's for a single audit. So we'll be at 15,000. And if we have to do a single audit as well, if applicable, then that jumps into the 45. So that would be in addition if needed. So it'd be the 15,000. And then next year, pending on how the RFP goes, 15.6, 16.2, 16.8.
Okay, yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, did I ask for a motion on that?
Yes.
Yeah, that motion in a
Okay.
second.
Wonderful. You-
Better vote.
Oh,
All in favor?
all in favor? That's what I was
Sorry,
asking.
I threw you off.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, that is approved. Whew. Authorizing the mayor to sign the sponsorship agreement between Woodland Hills and Utah County for the America 250.
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Lunt with the motion,
I'll second.
Councilmember Roden with the second. Any comments? Anybody wanting to throw me off again? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'll do that. Approval of large purchase requests. Now, we can approve this and move forward. We can approve this and pending other bids. That way we don't have to wait till the August 11th. Or we can approve this with a, we can table it till the August 11th.
Move it with
Make a
conditions.
maximum that you're willing to spend.
We could approve it with the amount budgeted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be my plan is to, I moved to approve it with the amount budgeted
Okay.
with the intent of getting additional bids and having them reviewed before
A commitment
a
is made.
commitment is
Okay, and I will
If
reach
it-
out to each of you for that commitment.
made. Yeah, and if it goes
Once
up,
we have additional
if it
bids.
goes up because somebody else found something the first company didn't, we need to have more discussion.
Wonderful, and I'd say let's put that on the August 11th, no matter what the decision is, so that it's made to the public as well. Okay, I have a motion from Councilmember Hutchings and a second from Councilmember Johns. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Good. I have two legal matters that I would like to discuss. One is an update and one is a strategic discussion. If
make the
I
motion.
have a motion. So I have a motion from Councilmember Malkovich,
I'll second it.
Councilmember Hutchings with a second.
With an S.
What?
Hutchings with an S.
When did you add that?
I've always had an S on the end of my name.
Did I say Hutching?
No, you didn't.
Oh.
It's a joke.
Hutchings. Councilmember Malkovich,
Yes.
Councilmember Johns, Councilmember Hutchings.
Yes.
Councilmember Roden. Yes. Councilmember Lunt.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Diana. Looks like Sherry's already gone. We appreciate your attendance. We are going to move towards going into a closed session.
Yeah. Say the mayor knows how to do it. She might have gone home at this late.
Okay, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
So no council rest of the month, correct?
Rest of the month, you got it off, baby.
Hey.
And 24th,
July and December we do that.
Oh.
because of the holidays.